This is the world where humans and soul pets live together. When you become a soul pet master, you can summon your soul pet to fight for you, however, in this Nightmare Demon Island. At the Nightmare Demon base, people in the black robe use their power to summon something while many of the kids cry and look at the people in the black robe. Our protagonist's name is Chumu. He's one of the many kids. It's been a few days since Chumu has been captured and brought to that island, and the children there are experimental subjects. Also, their current situation was the 10th fighting experimental group including Chumu among the children, and the enemy the kids fighting is the soul pet master's summoned soul pets. The purpose of the bloody experiment is to awaken the kids' inner body's special soul pet and simulate the evil soul pet's growth. The evil soul pets are very special among soul pets. Once the owner grows slower than the evil soul pets, the soul will be devoured by the evil soul pet, and the kids, who are the experimental subject, are captured and brought to the island to be forced to sign a contract with the evil soul pets, either be devoured by the evil soul pet or be killed by the soul pet. No matter what, Chumu knows he must survive. One of the people in the black robe announced that today is a physical fitness test, which means it is a matter of life and death. The man said they will only select 50 slots for training, and they will proceed with further training, which also means half of them will die today during the test. Then the leader named Deacon Cowie laughs and tells the kids to enjoy the joy of death, and only those who have been through life and death situations frequently are the ones qualified to enter their Nightmare Demon place. Then the monster jumped toward the kid and tore off the kid's arm, which made the kid cry and shout in pain. Then the other kid started running away and starts crying while the monsters is chasing after them. Chumu look at the wolf who's currently eating the unfortunate kid. The hunt wolves are soul pets from Demon Beast World, beast type, wolf tribe from the fur color, and height. The wolves are roughly ranked 8. Chumu think if the wolves are rank 8, it's definitely stronger than a strong adult with a big sword, and if he wants to stay alive, he must need to try and fight those hunting wolves, but to figure out ways to survive and dodge the hunting wolves' attack, until 50 other children are killed first. Just minutes pass, but many children are dead on the ground while the Nightmare Demon members is laughing. On the other hand, Chumu and the other children keep running while the wolves are chasing them. Then Chumu saw someone and realizes that it was Zhu Shengmo, who was among those who were sent to the Green Nightmare Demon Island with him. Chumu know that Sheng has the best aptitude. That's why when he runs past Sheng, he warned him that behind him there are wolves. But Sheng grabs Chumu's hand and throws him in front of the wolf. But Chumu used his hand to balance and swing his body aside before he got bitten by the wolf. Then he fall to the ground while looking at the angry wolf. Then Chumu stand up and start to run again. Then the wolf jumped toward him, which made Chumu said the wolf is jumping at him from behind. Then he bends down to avoid the wolf's attack. Unfortunately, his back got cut, which made Chumu cry in pain. Then Chumu sit back and see the wolf angrier, which made him say that the blood smell makes the wolf more berserk. Then the wolf attack him and Chumu tried to push the wolf off of him. But the wolf is too strong and it opens its mouth, which made its saliva drop on Chumu's face, who's crying. Suddenly someone's hand clapped while ordering the wolves to stop. Then the person who was above the dead children's in the ground used the flute to make a noise, which mean the 10th experiment is done. The wolf get off at Chumu. Then Chumu tried to stand up shakingly. Cowie announced that there are 50 remaining survivors, but he cleared that it was only temporary. Then he also announces that starting from tomorrow, the children's can move freely around the island and they need to tame soul pets as battle weapons because there will be a bloodbath battle starting very soon. Then Cowie orders the children to get lost, go back to their home, and celebrate. Then Cowie noticed Chumu, who's trying to walk while injured, but Chumu collapsed on the ground. Later at the castle, Cowie enters the castle. Then the lady tells Cowie that Zia has been waiting for him for a long time. Then Cowie bends down to the man to pay his respects to leader Zia. Zia asks Cowie if the brat called Chumu died. Cowie nervously responded that Chumu is still alive. Zia tells Cowie that the client's information clearly stated that he is Chu family's normal kid, and Chumu can block his inner body with white nightmare demons snorting and won't die. Then Zia said it was weird. Cowie asks Zia why don't they finish Chumu off so that he can answer his client. Zia looks at Cowie smiling and responding no, and he should let Chumu be because it seems like Chumu still have some abilities. So they should let Chumu continue nurturing his white nightmare demon and see how long will Chumu be able to stay alive. A few hours later, on the island, Chumu, who's still laying on the ground surrounded by children. One of the kids asks if Chumu is dead. The other kid looked at Chumu's injured back and said Chumu lost so much blood and he might be a goner. Then Sheng, who's holding a bucket of water, tells the other kids to move aside. Then he throws the water into Chumu, making him wakes up. Then Sheng rotated the bucket in his fingers while saying, as you can see, he's still alive. Chumu look at Sheng angrily while trying to stand up. But Sheng hit Chumu using the bucket and asks him why he's looking at him like that. Then Sheng grabs Chu-Mu's head and pins it to the ground while telling Chu-Mu that he might as well worry about the nightmare inside him if he has the time to hate him. Then Sheng throws the bucket away while telling Chu-Mu that he is so weak and when he will be devoured by the nightmare demon. He would have wished that he died yesterday. Then Sheng laughs, which made Chu-Mu angrily, and glared at Sheng back while promising himself that he will pay Sheng back for what he did to him. Then Chu-Mu collapsed to the ground again. A few days later, in the house, Chu-Mu opened his eyes and noticed that he's inside the house. Suddenly, Chu-Mu's roommate named Ting Yu asks him if he's finally awake. Chu-Mu happily asked Ting if he didn't die, which made Ting shocked and angrily responded if she was dead there will be no one to help him apply the medicines. Then she asks Chu-Mu how his wounds are and if it still hurt. Chu-Mu sit up while responding that his wounds don't hurt anymore and he feels much better. Then he thanked Ting. Ting tells Chu-Mu to save his appreciation because that time she helped him, and if she has trouble in the future, he should remember to help her. Chu-Mu responded he'll try while stretching her arms. Then he realized something and asked Ting how long did he sleep. Ting responded that he's slept for around 3 days, which made Chu-Mu stand up and get his shirt. Ting tells Chu-Mu that his injuries haven't fully healed yet, and she asks him where is he going. Chu-Mu responded the test is starting soon, so he have to quickly tame a soul pet. Ting said she'll go with him so they can look out for each other. But Chu-Mu tells Ting that it's better if they travel alone because if they both meet a good soul pet, they can't split it, which made Ting tells Chu-Mu that she doesn't trust others and don't want to. But Chu-Mu just responded that he's also not worthy of her trust, then left leaving Ting angry while saying if they come across a good soul pet, she will let him choose first. A moment later, in the forest, Chu-Mu was walking. In his way, he was attacked by a snake but avoided it. Attacked by the wild boar but jumped to avoid it. Then he thinks if he remembers correctly, he will reach the center of the island after he passes through the forest, and even though it is dangerous, but the soul pet there are much stronger. A few minutes later, he arrived at the thorny forest. Suddenly the vine grabbed his feet and pulled him. While the vine is pulling him, he got injured by the thorny plant. Then the monster named Root Thorn Demon lift him up. The Root Thorn Demon plant world class is a vine type. Thorn demon group that grows in the forest with thorns, specialized in capturing creatures touring through the forest, and it is one of the most common carnivorous creatures of the plant world. Chu-Mu cut the vine which made him free and ran away, then he get into the dead vines to hide. But the Root Thorn Demon notice him and attack him angrily, but Chu-Mu said it was great because the Root Thorn Demon's attack helped him create a path. Then he run away fast while the Root Thorn Demon vines chased him. Then the vine hit his buttocks, which made him jump and shout in pain. Then he falls to the cliff. When he opened his eyes, he found himself hanging in the tree branch which made him happily say he was still alive. But the branch broke making him fall to the ground. While laying on the ground he heard something walking. Then he hides behind the tree while holding his knife, and when he peeks back he saw a red cloud fox. Then the red cloud fox walked toward him which made him confused. Then he swing his knife while telling the red cloud fox to go away which made the fox confused. Then it start to walk away. Then Chu-Mu starts to walk while thinking it was a weakling fox that doesn't even have combat ability. A few minutes later, somewhere in the forest, Chu-Mu was on the branch of the tree wondering if he was looking at Milton Lizard Monster. The Milton Lizard is a beast world class, it's a beast type, and it's a monster that has great strength and defense. Also, its speed and agility are slightly weaker than the close combat Soul Spirit. Suddenly someone appeared, and the kid tried to use his Soul Spirit contract to tame the Milton Lizard which made the lizard shocked and angry. The kid's soul touches the Milton Lizard's tail, but the lizard shakes off his soul away which made the kid said he failed. Then the Milton Lizard attacked the kid which made the kid shocked and run away while the Milton Lizard chased after him. Chu-Mu who's in the branch called the kid dumbass and said if the kid can't tame the Soul Spirit with Soul Spirit contract, he will only make it angrier. Chu-Mu also said before taming the Milton Lizard, he have to make preparation. A few hours later, he finishes making trap, then he lifts the trap to the tree branch and holds its string. Then he put the Soul Spirit core fragment under his trap. The core had many soul spirits who will eat it as food. Chu-Mu said the soul spirit only needs to take the bait, then he laughed while hiding in the bush nearby. The sunset was about to set off, but Chu-Mu was still in the same area eating while saying it's been half a day, then he wonder why isn't it appearing. Suddenly the caterpillar fell to his head and landed on his hand. Then the caterpillar looked at his sandwich excitedly which made him confused. Then Chu-Mu give his bread to the caterpillar while saying it can eat it, and he hopes it can bring him some good luck which made the caterpillar happy. After a few more minutes, Chu-Mu heard something coming which made him say that it has taken the bait. Then the red cloud fox walked toward the soul spirit core fragment carefully. Then the fox grabbed the core which made Chu-Mu about to loose the string. But he changes his mind while thinking he can't waste his trap on such a weak soul spirit. 2 days later, in the same area, a blue star fox grabs the core happily leaving Chu-Mu confused. 4 days later, a fox once again gets the core which made Chu-Mu wonder why is it a fox again. And 7 days later, Chumu see another fox grabbing his core again, which made him swear in anger. Then Chumu angrily wonder if he offends foxes and why are there so many foxes. 10 days later, Chumu is happily looking at the fox who was carefully walking toward the core, and when the fox grabs the core, Chumu loosed the string. But the fox avoided his trap and walked away, while Chumu chased behind him angrily, telling it not to run away. Then the caterpillar spit silk and tied the fox's feet, which made the fox fearfully fall to the ground. Then Chumu patted the caterpillar while telling it that he didn't expect it to be able to spit silk, but it did nicely. Then Chumu grabbed the fox while happily saying that he finally can tame one today. But he notices something and looks at the fox while saying it's weird and asks why the fox's head also has a moon mark. Chumu realized that the previous wolves all had a moon mark too, but all those foxes were a different type, so he wondered how can it be that all the foxes have the same mark. Then he remembers that he read a book before. There's a very rare case of race mutation, and the soul spirit can break through shackles, mutate itself, and can become a stronger race. Then he looked at the fox in his hand and said that little thing mutated so many times in just a few days. Then Chumu said continuously mutating soul spirit has unlimited talent and potential. Then he uses his soul spirit contract to tame the fox. Then Chumu presses his hand to the fox, then he looks closely, but the fox avoided his soul contract, which made him angry and think the little fox dares to reject him. Then he pinned the fox on the ground while saying his soul force is enough for him to use 9 more spirit soul contracts, and he tells the fox that he's surely making it his soul pet, no matter what happens. After an 8th try of soul contracts, Chumu was laying on the ground with the fox exhausted. Chumu angrily said he only left with one last try. Suddenly the silk on the fox's feet broke, which made the fox free and look at Chumu in a teasing way. Then the fox ran away while Chumu chased it, telling it to come back. The night comes. Chumu was in the thorn forest while angrily saying he can't believe he has to come to that place again. Suddenly he saw the fox fly out of the thorn forest, which made Chumu shock. Then the fox landed on the ground in pain. Then the root thorn demon vines come out and attack them. Then the demon angrily looks at them and attacked them both using its vines. The thorn demon grabbed and hit the stones and made it fly, hitting the fox, but Chumu blocks it. The fox fell to the ground, which made the thorn demon use his vines to attack the fox. Chumu noticed it and shout, then he jumped toward the fox and grab it. Then they roll to the ground. The thorn demon veins come out underground to attack them. Chumu notice it, but it's too late. Then the vines lift them up in the air upside down. The thorn demon pulled them toward it, but Chumu moved his hand toward the fox and opened it, while telling the fox that he don't want to be tamed by anyone, but is currently too weak, and it was extremely hard for him to survive on the island. Then Chumu tells the fox that if he wishes to become stronger, he can help him. Then he opens his soul spirit contract at the fox while telling it to accept his soul spirit contract. The fox closes his eyes and puts its paw in Chumu's hand, which means he accepts Chumu's contract. Suddenly the fox feels become stronger and uses its claws and cut off the thorn demon vines to free him, which made the thorn demon angry and pulled Chumu to its mouth. Then Chumu noticed the soul core of the root thorn demon inside its mouth, and he said the thorn demon exposed its weakness, to which the fox understand and run fast inside the root thorn demon mouth and pulled off its core. Then the thorn demon shakes for a second and collapsed in the ground. The fox happily stands on the collapsed root thorn demon while Chumu pick up the thorn demon core on the ground while saying their today's earning is not bad. Then Chumu throw the core toward the fox while telling it to take the core. Suddenly someone grabbed the core before the fox catch it, which made the fox shocked. Then Chumu angrily looked back while asking who's the bastard that gets the core. Then he saw the kid from before, who's holding the core while his pet centipede was beside him. Chumu looked at the kid and called the kid named Zhang Luo to say that the core is his hunting reward. But Luo just laughs and asks him if his trash fox really defeated the rank 2 root thorn demon while showing his cores, to which made Chumu saw the monster attributes core and tells Luo, who's walking away, to wait up. Chumu showed his cores to Luo while saying he can give up on the root thorn demon core, but Luo need a worm attribute core and he need a beast attribute core. Chumu also tell Luo that their duel is 2 days later, and if he wins, he should give his beast attribute core, but if he loses, he will give him those 3 worm attributes core. Luo laughs and tells Chumu that he wants to negotiate a trade with him when he can directly kill him, but Chumu proudly said that the examiners have banned them from fighting with each other privately, but they can duel officially, and he asks Luo if could it be that he wants to go against orders, which made Luo shock. Then Luo spit angrily and told Chumu that he will give him 2 days to treasure his last moments with his trash fox, which which made Chumu angry. A few moments later, in the house, Chumu was reading the Beast Soul's book, while Ting is patting the fox who was on the table while saying it was a cute moonlight fox. Then Ting asked Chumu if he have given the fox's name, which made Chumu shocked and responded that he haven't. Then think about what he should name it. A few minutes later, Chumu tell the fox that they will call him Mozai, which means when silent he is kind and beautiful, but when he takes action he is our atrocity and sharp. Mozai sit up happily, which made Ting say Mozai, it seems he like his name. Then Chumu back to reading the book and saw the Moonlight Fox. It was a beast world-class demon spirit attribute, and it demon fox tribe is Moonlight Fox's sub-family. It was slightly lower than middle rank, and its agility type soul pet is combat ability normal. Its special attack mode uses claws, fur has resistance ability, and its eye can use charm ability to weaken the enemy's combat willpower. Its race skill is Moon Sublimation Blast. Its basic skills are Moon Shadow, Charm, and Act Pitiful. Its main skill are Tear Claw and Sneak Attack. Also, its high class skill is Moonlight Claw. Chumu closed the book while saying the current rank and skill of Mozai is so weak. Ting asks Chumu if he is sure he wants to use Moonlight Fox to challenge Luo's 10-leg centipede, to which Chumu responded yes, but Ting reminds Chumu that if the Moonlight Claw is unable to tear apart the centipede's armor, it will be dangerous. Chumu stands up and stretches his body while saying that the reason why he's going to use the remaining 2 days to train Mozai. Then Ting shyly asks Chumu why don't they train together the next day, but Chumu just lay on the bed and slept, leaving Ting speechless. Then Ting sits down while saying Chumu picked such a weak Moonlight Fox, so she wonders what Chumu is thinking about. But Ting looks at Mozai lovely while saying Mozai is so cute. The next morning Chumu and Mozai enter the forest. Then Chumu touched the tree while telling Mozai that the ability is to his advantage and they need to increase his attack power. Then Chumu orders Mozai to attack the tree using its claw, to which Mozai immediately did and attacks the tree using its claw. Mozai comes down, leaving only a small scratch on the tree, which made Chumu disappointed and orders Mozai to continue to attack the tree. Mozai repeatedly attacked the tree, but its paw got stuck small wood, which made it look at Chumu crying. But Chumu just looked down and marked the tree using his knife, and order Mozai to continue to attack the tree until it falls. Mozai attacks the tree continuously even though its claw starts to hurt and bleeds. When the sun is about to set off, Mozai finally hit the tree one last time, and the tree falls to the ground in half while Mozai shakingly looks at it. Chumu proudly tell Mozai that he did nice, which made Mozai happy. Then Chumu touches Mozai while telling him that he can return to the Soul Pet space and rest first. After the Soul Pet Master and Soul Pets formed a contract, an exclusive Soul Beast space gets created, and the space allows the Soul Pet's physique and stamina to recover faster than the outside world. Then Chumu look at the mountain while saying he heard that the mountain contains some good medicine ingredients, but he don't know if he can find any. A few hours later, in the house, Chumu was mixing something in the bowl while Ting asked him if he was alright. Chumu responded that he just have some bursaries when collecting medicine grass, which made Ting ask him what medicine he was mixing. Chumu responded it was a deep blue heal grass and it has incredible healing effects on the soul pets. Also, it can make Mozai's damaged claws regrow, and the new claws will be even sharper. Then Chumu said Mozai will become even stronger. The next morning, Mozai comes out off the soul pet space, then Mozai uses its claws to stop himself, which leaves a scratch on the ground. Chumu lift up Mozai and happily said Mozai's claws have grown stronger. Ting heard Chumu and Bards in the house while saying it looks like Mozai made a good recovery. Then Ting tells Chumu that Luo is already waiting for him at the arena. Chumu confidently said that it was time to teach Luo a lesson. Meanwhile, in the arena, the children, Luo, and the examiner named Deacon Zhengzi were waiting for Chumu. The kids started to become annoyed because Chumu was not arriving yet, and they thinks Chumu wimp out because his pet is a trash fox. One of the kids said Chumu is here, to which Luo assured the kid not to worry about that kind of trash because he will win within 3 moves. On the other hand, while Chumu and Ting walking toward the arena, Ting notices something and whispered to Chumu that the long-haired person is named Ju King, and she heard that Ju King's soul pet is a scale snake, a high-rank soul pet, rank 6th. Then Zheng close his book and order everyone who has nothing to do with the duel to stay away. Then Zheng starts the duel between Chumu and Luo. Luo opens his soul power to call his centipede while looking at Chumu, but Chumu just calmly opens his soul power to call Mozai while looking back at Luo. Then Zheng said the duel begin. Luo's centipede looks at Mozai, then Luo orders his centipede to attack, to which the centipede uses its tail to attack Mozai, which made Chumu shout telling Mozai to watch out. Mozai avoided the centipede attack. Then Chumu ordered Mozai to run around in a circle, which Mozai immediately did. Then Mozai attacks the centipede's tail, body, and head using its claws, which leave marks on the centipede's body. Luo angrily thinks Mozai is annoying trash, and he orders his centipede to dig into the ground, which the centipede did, and goes underground, leaving Mozai confused. Ting tells Chumu to be careful because the centipede will sneak attack from the underground while Mozai is focused on moving. But Chumu told Ting not to worry about it, which made Ting angry and asked Chumu why he isn't listening to her. Chumu closed his eyes and used his soul energy perception. Then he saw the centipede crawling underground behind Mozai's back. Then the centipede crawls up, but before it can attack Mozai, Chumu orders Mozai to dodge and attack. When the centipede come out underground, Mozai avoided it. Then Mozai jumped toward the centipede and attack it using its claws. Then Mozai comes down and runs away. Luo confidently said Mozai's attack is useless because his centipede has enhanced its belly with armor, so Chumu's trash little fox won't be able to harm it. Suddenly, Mozai looked back in confusion, while Luo ordered his centipede to finish the trash fox off, but the centipede collapsed on the ground dead, which made Mozai happy. Luo was shocked and thinks it was impossible. Then he held his head knowing that he's doomed and it was all over. Then Luo clenches his teeth in anger and grabs his knife behind him. Then he runs toward Chumu to attack while telling Chumu to go to hell, which made Ting shocked in horror. Luo held the knife while running toward Chumu, who stands still, and closed his eyes to stab Chumu. But before Chumu got hit, Mozai jumped toward Luo and attacked Luo's hand using its claws, which made Luo let go of the knife and shout in pain. Chumu tells Luo that if he takes any more steps closer, he's gonna die, which made Luo angry and gives the cores to Chumu as a promise. When Chumu was going to leave, someone asks him if he want to leave, which made Chumu shocked. And when he looked back, he saw King angrily walking toward him. Then King called his scaled snake. Then the snake come out from the soul pet space, which made the kids shocked in fear and Zeng stunned. Ting fearfully thinks King dares to attack someone in front of a deacon. Chumu angrily look at the snake and realize it was a rank 4 scaled snake. Then King orders his snake to attack Chumu, which the snake did and crawls toward where Chumu and Mozai were. But before the snake get to where Chumu and Mozai were, someone shouted, which made Chumu look back and saw the kids fearfully looking and pointing at Luo, who was kneeling on the ground in pain. King saw it and run toward Luo, but before he can get to Luo, Luo shouts in pain while something comes out of his body. King held Luo's shoulder and asked Luo what happened to him. Suddenly something thrown away King. Then a black and white smoke circled Luo, which made Luo shout in pain. Then a monster comes out and grabs Luo's neck tightly. Then it slowly gets Luo's soul. One of the kids fearfully pointed at the monster and said it was the nightmare demon that made Chumu, Ting, and the other children shocked. Ting, who was looking near at the night demon, angrily said the nightmare demon that came out is around rank 1. Zeng said when there isn't much soul energy to provide for the nightmare demon, it will devour their soul. Then the nightmare demon let go the lifeless Luo in the ground and happily shout because it's free, which made the scaled snake and Mozai shake in fear. Also, it made the children panic while asking if they were all going to die there. Zeng walked toward the nightmare demon while holding a plate, which made the children and the nightmare demon shocked. Then Zeng said something which made the plate with marks glow, and it pulled the nightmare demon inside. After a few moments, the nightmare demon was completely trapped inside the plate with marks. Then Zeng put the plate inside his coat while announcing that it was the end of the duel, and before the exam, all forms of duels are restricted. Chumu, Ting, and the other kids started to walk away, leaving King angrily standing up. When King is fully stand up, he called Chumu angrily and said he will avenge Luo, so Chumu should wait because he will be devoured by his scaled snake. Chumu just turned around and held his hand in the air while responding that he will see him try, which made King very angry. A few weeks later, Mozai attacked the flower monster, which made it collapse on the ground. Ting tells Mozai that is amazing and it's so obvious that her flower thorn demon is higher rank, but still not a match for Mozai, which made Mozai happily walk. Then Mozai jumps toward Chumu, who's telling Ting that it's just that Mozai is very agile and able to counter her soul pet easily. With just some more practice, he is sure that not many can be stronger than her. Ting gets down and sends her flower thorn demon into the soul pet space while saying it's not necessarily true because as far as she knows, there are few people whose soul pets are much stronger than her flower thorn demon, which made Chumu said to Ting she should tell him about them. Ting told Chumu that he only knows how to occupy himself in training and doesn't care about anything else, so eventually he will suffer losses because of that. Then Ting said there's Tang Xian's Steel Fang, Gu Feng's Rock Golem. There's also Ji King's Scaled Snake which is even able to swallow him, and Zhu Shengmo's Hunter Wolf. Chu Mu angrily remember that Sheng pushed him before, and he thinks one day he will definitely take his revenge. Ting flicks Chu Mu's forehead while asking Chu Mu what is he thinking about because he looks so pale. Chu Mu awkwardly responded it's nothing. Then Ting said there's also one more, and that's him because he was able to train an ornamental type soul pet into that state, and she was sure he could pass the test. But Chu Mu started to walk away which made Ting shocked and ask him where is he going. Chu Mu responded that he's going to the inner island to look for some medical herbs, and it might be dangerous. So he tells Ting to head back first which made Ting angry and Ting said Chu Mu didn't even thank her for complimenting him. While Chu Mu was walking, the caterpillar alerted at something which Chu Mu noticed and patted the caterpillar while asking what it is or if he's hungry. But the caterpillar just pulled Chu Mu hands which made Chu Mu ask it if there was something ahead which made the caterpillar look back at him confidently. On the other hand, somewhere in the forest, the black-haired kid said Sheng and the others have gone far abroad, and he can't believe he ordered them to patrol the perimeter. The other kid sighed and responded that they are no match for Sheng and are only worthy of vigilante work. The black-haired kid said, however, after Sheng gets his third soul pet, no one will be a match for him. Then the other kid asked if isn't that why they joined Sheng. The black-haired kid responded is right and said Sheng promised that he will help them to inflict heavy damage on other groups and will give them one of the 10 spots. On the other hand, behind the bush, Chu Mu thinks Sheng has surprisingly reached the 7th Tamer rank, and a soul pet master's cultivation is divided into 9 ranks. The first 3 ranks are low ranks, followed by the middle 3, the middle rank, and lastly, the rest 3 are high ranks, and a high rank is able to have 3 soul pacts. Chu Mu think if he lets Sheng get his 3rd soul pet, then it will be hard for him to kill him, so he must disrupt Sheng's plans. Then he hides inside the bush while making a noise that catches the attention of 2 kids. The 2 kids walk toward the bush confused to inspect. Suddenly Mo Zai jumps and attacks the black-haired kid which made the other kid shocked. Then the other kid saw his friend collapse on the ground which made him shout that it was an ambush. Then he saw Chu Mu and immediately called his rock golem. The rock golem elemental class world is a rock type, and its golem race is a min-rank monster. It's having a height of 1.3 meters, and it's like a humanoid with a strong build and particularly bulky arms. The rock golem jumped toward Chu Mu to attack, but Chu Mu avoided it, while the kid ran and called Sheng to help him. The caterpillar appeared in the bush and spit silk to cover the kid's mouth. The kid kneeled down which made Chu Mu see the opportunity and order Mo Zai to kill the kid while the kid tried to take off the silk in his mouth, and ordered the rock golem in his head to be quick to come back and protect him. The rock golem chased Mo Zai who was running toward the kid, then Mo Zai cut the kid's throat which made the kid collapse on the ground dead, leaving the rock golem confused. Then the rock golem turned around and started to walk away while Chu Mu said once the soul pet monster dies, the contract will be null. And the soul pet without a master can easily turn his hatred on the person who killed his master. Then Chu Mu looked at the kid on the ground and said it seems like his soul pet doesn't even want to avenge him, so it seems like there wasn't even any affection between the 2 of them. Then Chu Mu asked the caterpillar who's in the tree if it can find out what the others are doing. Then it goes away to follow Chu Mu's order which made Chu Mu thinks it's a reliable scout. The caterpillar seriously looks at the other kids while hiding under the tree leaves. Suddenly Sheng heard something and asks the other kids what's that sound. Then Sheng looked around at his surroundings seriously. Then Sheng said, Tang Xian, and he will continue on their pursuit of the flame tail. Then he orders Luo Chen to go and take a look if someone gets in the way which made Luo Chen shocked. Sheng also tells Luo Chen if someone gets in their way he should kill them. A few moments later, they found the flame tail and fight it. Then Sheng tells Xian to let his steel fang continue its attack and keep the flame tail occupied. Then he said he will deal the last hit, and Xian responded okay, while thinking on the way there till their current situation. He did all the work. Then he ordered his steel fang to attack the flame tail which it did. The flame tail looks at the steel fang who's shouting in exhaustion. Sheng orders his hunter wolf to use its dark assault. Then the wolf runs toward the flame tail and attacks it, which made the flame tail fall to the ground while the hunter wolf is proud of itself. Xian asks Sheng why Luo Chen still hasn't come back yet and if something happens to Chen. Sheng, who's getting the core of the flame tail, tells Xian not to worry because Chen is as strong as he, and not many people are capable of beating him. Suddenly, they heard footsteps behind them, which made Xian look back while saying Chen is finally there and they were just talking about him. But he was paused and shocked which made Sheng look back and saw Chu Mu who was holding a bloody knife and Mo Zai in front of them. Xian fearfully asks if it means Chen and the others are all killed. But Sheng just smiled and said since Chen died, it saves him the trouble to beware of his betrayer. Then ordering Xian to kill Chu Mu, but Xian tells Sheng that his steel fang doesn't have much strength left. Shang told Zion that if he can kill Chu-Mu, he will help him capture his third soul pet the next day, and Chu-Mu is also exhausted because he fought with 3 people in a row. So Shang tells Zion to trust him and go, which made Zion think Shang still wants to preserve his strength and reap the benefits. Chu-Mu pointed to order Mozai to attack Zion, and Zion called his Steel Fang to attack too. Mozai and Steel Fang attacks just hit each other, then it attack again, but the attacks just hit each other's attack. While their master are watching, Chu-Mu noticed the wounds of Mozai and thinks Steel Fang is very agile, so Mozai doesn't hold the advantage in close combat fighting. Then he thinks carefully and order Mozai to use his charm. Mozai back off near Chu-Mu and closes its eyes, while Shang tells Zion that his Steel Fang is already ranked 8, so there's no way it will be charmed by Mozai. Then he orders Zion to kill Chu-Mu quickly. Then Steel Fang run toward Mozai to attack, but before it hit Mozai, Chu-Mu opened his eyes, which made Shang shocked, and orders Zion to let his Steel Fang close its eyes quickly. Steel Fang was shocked to see Chu-Mu's eyes, then it becomes slowly charms. Then Mozai cut Steel Fang back, which made Zion stutter and said it was impossible. Then he looked down at his Steel Fang tail that fell to the ground. Chu-Mu immediately throw his knife towards Zion, who got hit in the forehead, which made Shang angrily tells Chu-Mu that he didn't expect him to be a spirit soldier. After Soul Pet Master reaches spirit soldier rank, they can use their soul energy as a price to use the soul skill. Soul skill, Charm, is the Chu family's most unique skill and able to allow Soul Pet Masters to use their Soul Pet skill. Then Shang smiles while telling Chu-Mu that he has to admit, he's strong and no wonder he can survive until now, even with White Nightmare's torture. Then he kicks Zion, who's dead on the ground, while saying the kids are a bunch of trash. Then he smiles and tells Chu-Mu that it was a pity because his current state can't defeat his hunter wolf, and since they have the same goal. Then he asks Chu-Mu if he wants them to work together. But Chu-Mu angrily called Shang bastard and said death is the only option for trash like him. Shang called his hunter wolf while telling Chu-Mu that since he have declined his offer, he will kill him. The hunter wolf comes out and uses its bloodthirst skill to gather all the blood on the ground and consume it, making it stronger. Then Shang angrily orders his hunter wolf to thorn Chu-Mu apart. Then Shang orders his hunter wolf to attack. Hunter wolf runs toward Mozai and attacks Mozai using its claws, which made Mozai thrown away. Then the wolf shouts angrily, which made Shang smile and order it to use demonic attack, to which the wolf immediately did and hit Mozai multiple times. Mozai gets down on the ground and angrily looks at the wolf. Shang tells Chu-Mu that his wolf is so weak because his trash wolf can't even land a hit on his hunter wolf's skin, so he's dead. Chu-Mu think he can't activate his soul skill again and he can only rely on Mozai, so the situation all depends on Mozai. Chu-Mu orders Mozai to go into hiding, then attack, to which Mozai immediately followed and hides in the bush, but Shang said Chu-Mu is naive. Suddenly Shang was shocked to see Mozai attacking him from behind, but Shang Wolf noticed it and attacked Mozai, which made Mozai thrown onto the ground, while Shang asked Chu-Mu why he was trying to harm him using a sneak attack because it's cheap tricks. But then Shang noticed that his wolf had wounds from Mozai's attacks and was shocked that Mozai can hurt his wolf. Then he smiled and said those small wounds will only make his wolf more berserk. Then the hunter wolf jumps toward Mozai to attack, but Mozai counterattacks it. Then the two pets land on the ground both injured, which made Shang confused about how is that possible. Then Shang angrily said he totally forgot about Mozai's faking ability. Chu-Mu order Mozai to get rid of the acting pitiful state, and they should show Shang his true appearance, to which Mozai did. Acting pitiful is the Moonlight Wolf's unique skill that means no matter what combat ability the Moonlight Wolf is at, it will always look small and weak in front of others. Mozai slowly changed its appearance. His paws and claws got bigger, his fur showed a red fur line, and his size got 3 times bigger, which made Shang thinks he didn't expect Mozai to reach rank 9 with just training. But he still confidently said trash is still trash no matter even if it ranks 9 or not. Then he orders his hunter wolf to change into its bloodthirsty berserk mode, to which the wolf immediately did, which makes Mozai shock. Then wolf attacked Mozai. Fortunately, Mozai avoided it. Then the wolf looks at Chu-Mu, which made Chu-Mu shocked and clench his teeth because he knows he was in danger. Then the wolf jumps into Chu-Mu, which made Chu-Mu pinned to the ground, while Shang is smilingly and told him to die. While Chu-Mu struggled to push off the wolf, he saw a bright moon in the sky and ordered Mozai to use a charm, to which Mozai did, and run toward the wolf. When the wolf looked back, Mozai used his claws and cut off the wolf's head. Chu-Mu pushed the wolf's body to the ground and stand up, which made Shang shocked and said Chu-Mu used the Moonlight Sublimation Blast. Moonlight Sublimation Blast is a passive skill that the Moonlight Wolf race has, which helped to recover itself quickly under the moonlight, and also increases its all-combat ability. Shang runs away in fear, but Chu-Mu orders Mozai to kill Shang, to which Mozai chased Shang and killed it, leaving a horrifying shout. Mozai come back to Shang and happily licked Chu-Mu's face, who was praising him that he did good work. Then Chumu sent Mozai to the soul pet space to rest. Suddenly, Chumu's chest hurt, which made him said it was bad while something slowly came out of him. Then a white nightmare demon showed itself behind Chumu, who's kneeling in pain. Chumu painfully called the monster white nightmare demon named. Chumu looked back while saying it's appearing as soon as he feel weaker. Then the nightmare demon grabs his neck, but Chumu tried to calm himself and thinks he must quickly enter the meditation state, so he can recover his soul energy quickly and might be able to make it in time. But the white nightmare demon starts choking him and proceed to get his soul, which made him in pain. Chumu angrily tells the white nightmare demon to shut up because if he doesn't let him focus, how does he give him soul energy, which made it shocked and speechless for a moment. But still, the white nightmare demon continued to get Chumu's soul, which made Chumu cry in pain while shakingly assuring himself continuously that he can do it and he won't die no matter what. The morning comes. Chumu was lying on the ground while the birds were on top of him. Suddenly Chumu opened his eyes, which made the birds shocked. Then Chumu sit up wondering why he was still alive while the birds were flying away. Then he looks around and remembers his yesterday's hunt reward. A few hours later, in the houses, Chumu was walking while saying that the flame tail has passed the absorption period after it died. But he didn't expect that he can obtain a valuable attribute soul crystal. Chumu think after a few days of recovery, Mozai can absorb the soul crystal, which made him happy, making the other kids confused. Meanwhile, in the castle, Zhang tells Kaoyi that on the island Sheng and others' corpses have been found, and they were all killed by humans, which made Kaoyi shocked and hit the table. Then Kaoyi sits down while frustratingly saying those few talented ones suddenly died. Then he asks himself how he will report that to Zia, which made Zhang wonder if Kaoyi is worried that the incident will affect the Nightmare Palace's reward that he gets. Then Kaoyi asks Zhang if there's any clue or evidence. Zhang responded that yesterday night, Chumu didn't return just like the others, and Chumu is currently the biggest suspect. But with his soul pet's power, Chumu won't be a match for all three of the kids. Then Zhang asks if could it be done by some outsiders who entered the island, which made Kaoyi just orders him to send the orders and ask the kids to assemble. A few moments later, Kaoyi and the other members arrived while the kids were looking at Chumu, who was very happy. Kaoyi angrily tells the kids that there have been outsiders entering the island and to prevent troubles, the exam will be pushed forward and it starts the next day. Kaoyi also said the top 10 will leave the island with him, but the rest will die, which made Chumu stunned and starts panicky, thinking Mozai won't recover in time. Then Kaoyi ordered the kids to get back to their rooms and enjoy their last day, which made the kids panic and afraid, but Chumu just starts thinking again. Suddenly someone bumped into Chumu, which made him fell to the ground, and when he sat up he saw King angrily looking at him. King told Chumu that he better pray that he doesn't get matched up with him the next day and enjoy his last few moments, then left, leaving Chumu angry. The next day, Kaoyi announced that the draw of 1 versus 1 duel continues until there remains the last 10, and the weaker one will get eliminated, which means death. Kaoyi also said whether they survive or not depends on whether they can kill their opponent or not. Then he picked a note inside the box and said the first round is King, which made the kid fear and wish that their name won't be called for King opponent. Then the kid wonders which unlucky person will face King the Grim Reaper. King, who's standing in the front, look at angrily at Chumu, who's in the crowd. Then they look at each other angrily. Kaoyi picked another paper while Chumu wonder who's gonna be is it. Kaoyi picked name Zhang Fei Sheng, which made the other kids relieved because their name did not get called and they think Fei will probably die a horrible death. On the other hand, Fei was shaking in fear, then retreat and run away while shouting that he don't want to die yet. But Kaoyi pointed at him while asking him sarcastically if he wants to run. Then Kaoyi called his pet that chased after Fei and killed Fei. Kaoyi announced that anyone who dares to run will end up like that. Then he pointed to the pet who was dragging Fei, which made the kids speechless in fear. Then Kaoyi tells King that he will count that round of victory as him and order him to go back to the queue, to which King did and pushed Chumu to the side while saying he's lucky that he didn't get a match up with him, then walk away, leaving Chumu angry. A few hours later, some kids got killed in the duel and some kids win, and the other kids who don't want to fight were dragged away to be fed to the wolves. Then Kaoyi inserts his hand into the box for the next round and called Chumu, and his opponent is Hongdan, which made Chumu shocked and looked back to see Hongdan talking with Ting. Hong said it turns out that her opponent is Chumu, which made Ting worried. But Hong apologized to her and said that she might have a change of roommate. But Ting just lower her head and tells her good luck because she might be the one to die. Then Hong walk away, which made Ting exhale in sadness. Then Chumu and Hong arrived on the stage. Hong tells Chumu that she knows his soul pet is a low-rank moonlight fox, and he got lucky to live till today, but Chumu just look at her emotionless. Hong tells Chumu not to blame her for being ruthless, as she's doing that to survive. Then Hong called her pet, then she smiles confidently, but Chumu just throw a knife toward her, which pierced her neck. Then she collapsed on the ground dead, which made the kids shock and ask if that even considered a duel. The two men ask Kaoyi what they should do to that kind of situation. but Kaoyi just tells Chumu that he has done it nicely because accurately aimed for the opponent's weak point and with no hesitation. Then Kaoyi also said it is such a pity that moves like that won't work a second time, and others will be on guard against it. Then Chumu walk away, which made the kids shake in fear. Chumu think he ended it quickly so he can finally obtain some time for Mozai to recover. Then he walks past at Ting, who's thinking that everyone is tricked by Chumu's appearance and he's actually the scariest in that top 10 battle. The next morning, Kaoyi and the kids have arrived at the fighting place. The kids were waiting and looking at Kaoyi, who was at the top, while Chumu, who was thinking that last night Mozai recovered around 50% already, and King peeked at Chumu angrily. Kaoyi announced that it was the last battle day and those who live can leave the island. Then he announced that the battle begins. A few hours later, Kaoyi announced that the last participants are Chumu versus Jerson, who was telling Chumu that his Balasauride monster will kill his little fox. Ting said that another person who is underestimating Chumu, which made the purple hair on her back, thinks Ting trusted Chumu so much, so she wondered if she had fallen for him. Jerson called his Balasauride and Chumu called Mozai. Mozai feet shake, to which Ting notices and said Mozai hasn't recovered fully because it looks very weak, which made the purple hair girl say Chumu is going to lose for sure, but Ting confidently said Chumu won't lose. Then Balasauride attacked Mozai, but Mozai avoided it. Then Balasauride attacked again, but Mozai jumped to avoid it, which made the other kids say the Moonlight Fox is so agile and Balasauride is being played by Mozai. On the other hand, Balasauride was confused about where Mozai was, which made Jerson shout to his pet that Mozai is behind him. Then Mozai circled around Balasauride, which made it dizzy and made Jerson angrier, and order his pet to hurry up and attack, which made Chumu smile while realizing that Balasauride will be exhausted when it get irritated. Mozai used his charm, which made it stunned and hypnotized. Jerson was shocked and ordered his pet to snap out of it quickly, but Chumu ordered Mozai to kill it, to which Mozai swung its claws toward it and cut its throat, which made it collapse on the ground dead. Jerson, who can't believe he lose, also collapsed on the ground in horror. Then he got dragged by two men. Kaoyi claps and announced that the remaining 11 are all victorious, but the island's rule is that only 10 can live, which made the kids shock. King clenches his hand in anger and raises his hand to tell Kaoyi that yesterday his opponent was killed by him, and he kinda lacks battle experience, so he's willing to fight with Chumu, and the loser gets eliminated. Then he smiles while thinking Chumu Fox has wounds after experiencing one match, so how it can have a chance to win against him. Then he laughs and asks Chumu what he thinks about it, which made Chumu angry, clenches his teeth and said since King is seeking death, then he will grant his wish. King looks at Chumu teasingly, but Chumu just stared back. Kaoyi said the fight is settled, and the victors get to live and the loser shall die. Then he said the battle begin. King called his scaled snake, and Chumu called Mozai. Then King ordered his snake to devour Mozai, but Mozai jumped and avoided it, but he landed where the scaled snake's tail was. Chumu tell Mozai to keep his distance, and don't let it come near him. Also don't give it a chance to constrict him. Mozai jump away in time before he gets trapped in its tail. Then its tail moved to attack him. Fortunately, Mozai avoided it. Then Mozai landed on the ground and looked at scaled snake. King ordered his snake to use a poison splash, to which the snake did. Chumu and Mozai avoided it, but a piece of poison splashed on Mozai's tail that made his fur burn and make him shout in pain. Then the scaled snake launched toward Mozai. Fortunately, Mozai avoided it once again and attacked it around its body using his claws. Then he jumps toward Chumu, who's in shock, but still catches him and looks at its injured claws. King said Mozai claws can never hurt his scaled snake's defense. Then he ordered his pet to stop playing and end the game quickly. Then he ordered it to unleash its vicious devour, to which the scaled snake followed. The other kids said Chumu's going to die because those who get devoured by it will have their skin bitten viciously. Then poison starts spreading, causing their body to ulcerate. Ting tells Chumu to run quickly, but Chumu calmly tells Mozai that he thinks it's time for him to use his new skill. Suddenly Mozai jump off, which made Chumu shock. Then it turned around and smiled at Chumu, then started to walk away while activating its power. Mozai walks towards Scaled Snake and uses its Moon Shadow clone technique. King just laughed and said clones are also useless. Then the Scaled Snake angrily waits for Mozai and its clones who were running toward it. Then the Scaled Snake launched toward Mozai and opened its mouth, which made Ting and the other kids shocked in horror. Chumu called Mozai, then Mozai clone gets back to him. Then the Scaled Snake swallow Mozai. The Scaled Snake was proud at itself, while King orders his pet to send Chumu to reunite with his Moonlight Fox. Suddenly Scaled Snake vicious devours slowly fading, which made King shock. Then something move inside its body. Then Mozai used his Moonlight Claw to come out of its body. Then Scaled Snake collapsed to the ground dead, while Mozai proudly made a sound for his victory. Kaoyi, the other members of the Night Demon Association, and the kids were shocked. Chumu orders Mozai to kill King, then Mozai walks toward King and slashes him while King can't believe what happened, and falls to the ground dead. Then Chumu sends Mozai to Soul Pet Space to rest. Kaui tells Chumu that he didn't expect him to be hiding his true power, and being able to use Moonlight Claw means his Moonlight Wolf must have reached 9 rank. Then Kaui angrily asks him if he's the one who has killed Ju Shengmo and the others, which made the other kids say luckily they never provoked Chumu. Then Kaui uses mental restraint on Chumu, which made Chumu shock and held his head while shouting in pain. Kaui orders him to speak, and Chumu responded that it wasn't him. But Kaui tells him that he will give him a last chance to speak, but he still said it's not him. Then he tells Mozai, who's angry inside his Soul Pet Space, not to worry and that he can't come out. Kaui angry squeezed his hand while telling Chumu to stop lying. Then Zhang tells Kaui to calm down because there are only 10 people remaining on the island, and if one more is killed, Lord Xia will get pissed, to which Kaui remembers Xia face. Then Kaui walks away while telling the kids that they'll be leaving in 3 days and they should go back to rest. One of the members of their association asks Zhang why Kaui gets angry over Shengmo and others' death because he usually didn't care about those people. Zhang responded that Kaui easily gets jealous and envies others. Kaui doesn't want to let people he disciplined before climb over his head. He also said Chumu has potential and talent and has been feeding White Nightmare for so long, so if Lord Xia likes him. But before he can finish his word, his comrade asked what they should do. Zhang responded from his look of it, Xia won't let Chumu die because Chumu might achieve a high rank inside the Nightmare Palace. To which the guy said if Kaui wants to kill Chumu, then they must protect him, and make use of that chance to report that matter, so Kaui will die and they'll rise in rank. Then they laugh together. The night comes. Chumu was near the cliff sitting. He was loading 2 attribute soul crystals. Then he broke it into pieces and look at the fire and the beast attribute soul crystal. Chumu think the beast and the fire attribute soul crystal can strengthen Mozai's combat ability and helps to prepare a good foundation for the next racial mutation. The chance of Mozai becoming a flame 9-tail firefox will greatly increase, and it will also lower the chance of evolving into another weaker type. Then Mozai absorbs the 2 attributes soul crystal, which made it release fire, and covered by it, which made Chumu shock. Then the fire slowly fades, showing the red lines on Mozai's feet and head. Then Mozai looks at Chumu and hug him while Chumu proudly tells Mozai that he has evolved to the 2nd stage. While they peacefully hugging on the ground, they notice something, and when they look back they saw something looking at them from the tree. Then they walk toward it to check, but it opened its wing and fly toward the sky, which made Chumu shocked and realized that it was the Dark Night Bat. The bat opens its mouth to attack Mozai, who's in shock. Then it hit Mozai, but Mozai just stands still and look at the bat intensely while using his skill, which made the bat set on fire and collapse on the ground, burned. Chumu, who's looking at the dead bat, was shocked and happily tells Mozai that it is the flame light, a flame type skill. Then he patted Mozai while thinking that they have succeeded. Then he lift up Mozai proudly while thinking Mozai successfully grew into a soul pet with beast attribute as its main and flame attribute as its supporting attribute. The next morning, Kaui and the 10 remaining kids were walking toward the boat on the shore. Kaui said they all are now members of Nightmare Palace, so they should get on the boat because they're heading to Green Nightmare Island. A few moments later, the boat sailed, then the kids happily hug each other and said they finally can leave the hellish place while Chumu was emotionless on the side. When the boat moves fast, Chumu catches breath and closes his mouth tightly, but he still ends up vomiting. That made Ting worried. On the other hand, someone looking at them, and Zheng tells them not to stand near the side of the boat because the sea has many ferocious soul pets, and if they piss them off, they can easily jump up and swallow them. Suddenly Chumu noticed something, then a big shark jump out of the water. Fortunately, Chumu grabs Ting to avoid the shark attack. Zheng said he jinxed it. Then he realized that they were surrounded, so he called Kaui to say that they are targeted by a group of python sharks. The shark jump and bite the boat's sail, then come back into water. Kaui orders the kids to go into the cabinet, to which the kid follows. Then the shark jumps to attack Kaui, but he dodges it and curses at it angrily. Suddenly a tentacle grabbed him, which made him and his member shocked. Then it pulled Kaui into the water. Then they saw blood and just a bubble. Suddenly, the water burst and Kaui was on top of it, while holding a bloody knife, and landed on the boat. Then Kaui orders the water spirit to kill all the sharks. Then the water spirit made a circled power and throw it in different location, killing all the sharks. The other sharks swim away, which made Kaui angrier. Then the water spirits block the sharks' way using the block of ice. Then the water spirit swims toward the sharks and killed all of them. Kaui proudly said they should continue advancing, which made the kids happily say they are saved and Kaui is so strong. but Chu-Mu think he currently still can't win against Cao Yi because his water spirit has already reached stage 3. A few moments later, the sun is about to set. Chu-Mu sickly asks when will they arrive because he feels like vomiting again. Then one of the kid pointed at somewhere and said the Green Nightmare Island is in front, and they finally arrived. Then their boat landed on the shore and they entered the Green Nightmare Island. Zheng said from now on, they'll live there and if they can perform well, they can move to other better islands, to which made Chu-Mu happy. The sexy ladies on the street call Cao Yi handsome and ask him to have a few drinks with them. That made Cao Yi excited and tells Zheng that he will leave the rest to him, to which Zheng agreed. Then Cao Yi buried his face to the women's jugs that made Zheng angry. Then he tells the kids that they are now the lowest rank servant, and after a few days, they'll fight with other island members. Also, according to their combat ability, they'll distribute their positions. The higher the position, the more resources they will get. Then Zheng looks back to look at Chu-Mu while saying he hopes one of them can obtain some slightly better position, which made Chu-Mu speechless. A few minutes later, they arrived at a big house. Then Zheng announced that the house is their new home, and each one of them will get a single room. Also, Gu Feng will be the leader and will be responsible for coordinating everyone. Then Zheng gives them a gold coin while saying each one of them will collect a gold coin to buy some essentials. Chu-Mu lifted his coin and said Mozai needs it for growth, so he wonder if the market have the medicine and herbs that he need. A few minutes later, Chu-Mu walk around the town and realizes that he's lost. Suddenly he smells something and follows it. Then he ends up in the store. The owner who's making some medicine asks him what he needs. Chu-Mu asks if they have any sky blue grass, to which the man happily responded that they have and they sell one plant for 2 gold. But Chu-Mu showed his 1 gold shyly. Then the owner called him a poor brat because he just have 1 gold. Then the owner turns around while telling him that if he doesn't have money, he should find another place. Chu-Mu grabbed something inside his pocket and showed it to the owner while asking how much did he think the worth of the soul cores. The owner looked at it and said those soul cores don't seem like local soul beasts. Then he asked Chu-Mu if he was a servant from another island, and Chu-Mu responded yes. Then the owner said those 3 soul cores at most can be sold for 1 silver and 5 copper. The currency there is 1 silver is equal to 10 copper and 1 gold is equal to 10 silver. The owner also said even if new recruits get an official position afterward, his salary will still be very limited, and if he wants to get rich, he'll have to rely on himself to earn more money. Chu-Mu excitedly asked the owner if he have a good method, and the owner responded yes and asked Chu-Mu to cooperate with him, because their store collects soul cores at a high price while pointing at the board on the wall that says their store operates with honesty and don't lie or scam. Chu-Mu excitedly asked the owner where he can find a suitable place to hunt and collect soul cores. The owner responded in the dense forest to the south after leaving the city. But before the owner can finish, Chu-Mu was walking away confidently while the owner shouted to tell him that he haven't finished talking. The night come, in the dense forest, Chu-Mu and Mozai were walking. Suddenly Chu-Mu stepped on the bone which made a loud noise making the monsters of the forest notice them. Meanwhile, in the bar, 2 people cheers their beer mug. Then Cao Yi and Sub-Island's master named Liu Zheng drinks their beers. Then Liu put his empty mug on the table and tells Cao Yi that they have a close relationship, so he should let him know if he needs anything. Cao Yi said a few days later, in the upcoming battle, he should let his servant finish off a kid named Chu-Mu, who works for him. Then he angrily said Chu-Mu killed 3 of his servants with high potential who should have survived, which made Liu stunned in shock. Then Cao Yi held Liu's shoulder while telling him not to worry because Chu-Mu's soul pet is just a moonlight fox, to which Liu tells Cao Yi not to worry because he'll tell them to take care of that Chu-Mu. Then they laugh together. 2 days later, in the store, the owner drinking tea while thinking it's been 2 days and the kid hasn't come back yet, so he's afraid that the kid is already dead. Suddenly the store door opened, and the owner was shocked to see Chu-Mu come back injured. Then Chu-Mu put a bag full of core crystals while telling the owner to settle the bill. The owner opened the bag and saw many cores which made him shocked and said Chu-Mu came back alive and brought back so much from that forest. Then the owner started to count the core crystals and said it was a total of 7 gold. Then he happily looks at the crystal core while saying a newbie servant can collect cores worth 7 gold in just 2 days, and it's his first time seeing that core crystals after so many years. Chu-Mu tell the owner that he wants 1 sky blue grass and the rest he should pay him in gold because he still has to go to other places and buy some other stuff. When he gets his stuff, Chu-Mu starts to walk away while the owner asks him what else he wants and he just tells him, so he can search if he has what he needs. Chu-Mu responded he needs soul techniques and he knows that he don't have them there, but the owner grabbed his shoulder while telling him not to underestimate him and that he should follow him. Inside the shop, Chu-Mu saw big cabinets, then the owner pulled one of it, which opened the big secret door. Then the owner tells Chu-Mu that his treasure is only open for a valuable customer, but Chu-Mu think the owner is a crooked businessman who's still talking so high and mighty. Chu-Mu peeked at the door and was shocked to see many rare herbs and medicine. Then they go inside while the owner tells him that he has many soul techniques there. Chumu said he needs soul technique rapid freeze. The owner gives it to him while telling him that he has good vision, and that rapid freeze techniques can be used both offensive and defensive. Also, its effect on the soul is twice as good, so he'll only charge 5 gold, which made Chumu's expression change. A few minutes later, the owner happily tells him that he was welcome to visit his store again next time. But Chumu, who's holding a rapid freeze technique, and one sky blue grass, painfully walks away thinking about his hard-earned money. Suddenly, the owner called him, and he looked back. Then the owner throws something at him. Chumu said it was a good healing medicine, but he have no more money. The owner laughed and said he loves those with high potential. Doing business with people who have high potential is like an investment. Then he tells Chumu that in the future, if he wants anything, he can visit them and the price is negotiable. The sun is set when Chumu come back to the house, but he was shocked to see the house is full of blood and he asked what happened there. Then he walks toward the house and sees the door open. Then he called Mozai and peeked at the door. Chumu saw Ting and 2 more kids at the table. Then he asked Ting what happened there and where are the others. Ting responded that a few foremen gave them some decent quality cores and let them prepare for the upcoming battle. But some other islands people were interested in the core that they had, so they forced them to agree with the trade. But they didn't, so they attacked them. Then Gufeng angrily asks Chumu where was he those few days and if he doesn't know the day after tomorrow is their battle. Gufeng also said now that they've been bullied like that with their soul pets being hurt, how can they compete with the other people in another island? But Chumu just walked past Gufeng while asking what are the competition's format and rules. Ting responded that 10 soul pets from both sides will fight, and trainers are not allowed to participate. Also, the winner will get soul technique. Chumu just responded okay while going upstairs, which made Gufeng sit down angrily and said Chumu is still so arrogant and don't even care about them. But Chumu tells Gufeng not to worry about their today's suffering and embarrassment because he'll help them to pay them back. A few hours later, someone sneezed inside the house. Ting, who's lying on her bed and catch a cold, think the weather on that island is so weird because it becomes as cold as winter at night. On the other hand, in the room next door, the room was full of ice and Chumu was shaking and cold while saying he finally learned the rapid freeze technique. Then he sneezed hard because of the cold. The next morning, in the Nightmare Battle Arena, Zhang orders the kids not to look up after they'll enter because on top of the throne is the master of the Nightmare Green Island, and below him are all sub-island masters. Any disrespect from their gaze may attract lethal disasters. The master tells Cao Yi heard that the servants he brought that year are a bunch of useless people, and his island only reported Feng Gu, who had the highest servant among them, a 9th rank rock demon, but also a moonlight fox. Cao Yi responded that some accidents happened, so some strong ones died, and he tells the master not to hope for anything from that group. Then the sub-island master named Guomeng tells Cao Yi sarcastically that he's getting worse and worse, and that he never knew that he's so interesting, which made the other sub-island laugh while Cao Yi is angry behind them. Then someone announced that the match begins with the first match between Team Cao Yi and Team Guomeng. Gufeng looked at their opponent and said it was them, which made Chumu ask him if he know those guys. On the other side were the team of Guomengs and the other children, and the leader named Zhao Feng who don't have a mask. Gufeng angrily tells Chumu that those guys are the ones who snatched their soul cores. Zhao Feng said it turns out that their opponents are weaklings, so he tells his team to feel free to relax and play around because it's an easy win. Gufeng looks at his team and fearfully tells them not to be scared because they were just careless last time, and if they unite and work together, they can definitely win. Then someone orders them to summon their soul pet. Chumu summoned Mozai, Gufeng summoned Rock Demon, and Ting summoned Flower Thorn Demon. On the other hand, Zhao Feng summoned Scaled Armor Beast, the lady summoned Gila Monster, and the man summoned Wind Demon. Zhao Feng laughs hard while telling Chumu that he still dares to summon his Moonlight Fox. But Gufeng just tells Chumu that the opponent's Scaled Armor Beast is the biggest problem, so they'll hold it back, and he takes the opportunity to take out other opponents, to which Chumu nodded. Then someone announced that the fight begins. The pets look at each other for a second, then Mozai jumps toward the mushroom and cuts it, which made it collapse on the ground and faded. Zhao Feng asks one of his teammates why he unsummoned his soul pet. The man responded the Moonlight Fox is strong, and his soul pet might die if it gets hit again. The lady angrily called him a loser and said he's a disgrace to them. But Zhao Feng tells the lady not to be distracted and to pay attention to the battle in the arena. Then Scaled Armor Beast punches one of Chumu's team pets, which made it thrown to the ground. The owner cries, but Chumu tells it not to panic and keeps stalling the Scaled Armor Beast. Then Mozai jumps off the top of the head of Scaled Armor Beast toward the Gila monster. Then Mozai cut off its head, which made the master, Liu, Meng, and Zhao Feng shocked and wonder how is that possible. Then Zhao Feng orders his scaled armor beast to attack the Moonlight Fox first. Then it circled itself and chased Mozai, which made Mozai shock. But Gu Feng and Ting tell Chu Mu that they were coming to help. Flower Thorn Demon attacks it, but it has no effect at the scaled armor beast and just rolled toward Mozai, while Rock Demon was waiting at it, and stops it from rolling. Then Flower Thorn Demon uses its thorn to wrap around the scaled armor beast, but Zhao Feng confidently said attacking his scaled armor only will break Mozai claws. Mozai jumped toward it and cut it using his Moonlight Claw, which made its shield slowly crack and broke off, which made Zhao Feng shocked. Then Chu Mu tell Ting and Gu Feng that it's time. Flower Torn Demon cut the exposed skin of scaled armor beast using its sharp leaf. Then Rock Demon punch it, which made it collapse on the ground and faded because Zhao Feng angrily unsummoned it. Zhao Feng looked at his teammates and said he was careless, so the rest is up to his Wind Demon. Then the man ordered Wind Demon to absorb the wind, which made it big. Then it exhaled the wind toward Gu Feng's team pets and made a tornado that made Mozai, Flower Torn Demon, and Rock Demon caught by it. The tornado become bigger, which made Ting and Gu Feng cover their faces, but Chu Mu realizes that the tornado hasn't reached its final state. Then he ordered Mozai to charge, which made Mozai confused for a second and close its eyes and activate its beast power. Then Mozai uses his moon shadow to destroy the tornado. Ting was amazed because Mozai got stronger again in just a short period of time. Mozai walks toward the Wind Demon, but it runs away fearfully, which made its owner tells his teammates that Wind Demon doesn't have close combat ability, and he asks his team to quickly come and help him out. But Gu Feng said it was too late because Rock Demon and Flower Thorn Demon killed their pets. Chu Mu ordered Mozai to kill Wind Demon, to which Mozai cut off its head and proudly smiled at Chu Mu while standing at its corpse. On the other hand, at the top, Liu tells Kaoyi that Chu Mu does have some strength, which made Kaoyi angrily realize that Chu Mu's Moonlight Fox has reached stage 2, and he tells Liu that Chu Mu's strength has increased again. But Liu tells Kaoyi not to worry because his servants aren't as weak as the group of losers under Guo Meng, to which Kaoyi agreed and smiled. Then someone announced that Kaoyi's servant won, which made Chu Mu and his team proud. Then Gu Feng tells Chu Mu that he hid his true power indeed because he didn't believe it before, but now he does, so Shang and others are definitely killed by him. Then Gu Feng tells Chu Mu that his Moonlight Fox has clearly reached stage 2, so he wonders why it looks like rank 6, and Chu Mu responded that acting pitiful also leveled up. Then the violet hair girl walks closely to Chu Mu while asking what's the stage and rank of Mozai because it's hard to tell from the outside. But Chu Mu just tell her to make a guess while she's lovely looking at Chu Mu, which made Ting angry. Suddenly he heard a whistling sound inside Mozai's soul pet space, and he thinks Mozai finally grew even stronger after those days of constant fighting. On the other hand, inside the soul pet space, Mozai's claws slowly release fire and cover it. Then Mozai claws become bigger and sharper, which made Chu Mu realize that it was a stage 2 rank 4 claw, and Mozai's attack power is even stronger. Mozai's Moonlight Claw and Blood Cleavage Claw become stronger, which made Chu Mu excitedly said with those two powerful techniques, Mozai won't be afraid of any soul pets below stage 2 rank 7. Then another team comes in, while Gu Meng team was sad about their loss. Someone announced that the first rounds have ended and they should begin round 2, which is Team Kaoyi versus Team Liu Zheng. Liu asks Kaoyi to go down and watch it because it might be more interesting, to which Kaoyi happily agreed. Then someone orders both sides to summon their pets. Liu Zheng team pets are Dark Shadow stage 2, rank 3, Wind Demon stage 2, rank 3, Root Thorn Demon stage 2, rank 5, and Team Liu leader named Wang Qi Luo. Kaoyi's team was shocked to see their enemies all soul pets are stage 2 and above. Gu Feng tells his team that their enemies are strong, so when their match starts they should use a defensive technique, and he reminds his team that if they can't win they just surrender and withdraw their soul pets. Then the announcer said the battle begin. Ting ordered his Flower Thorn Demon to block the enemy way, which made the enemy shock. Luo said they defended after it started, to which his teammates asked him to let her defeat Ting. Then the girl ordered her Root Thorn Demon to attack, to which it did and broke Ting Flower Thorn Demon's defense and attack it, but Rock Demon grabs its thorn in time. Then Flower Thorn Demon attacked using her leaves, but the enemy ordered her Wind Demon to use Tornado, which made Rock Demon and Flower Thorn Demon caught by it. Wai Jai, one of Chu Mu's teammates, thinks under that situation they will definitely lose. Then he looks at his pet in the sky and thinks that the longer his white feather eagle lasts, the higher will be his personal ranking. Suddenly, a pet jumped and bit the white eagle's neck that made Lai Jai cry. The violet hair girl tells Ting that the opponent is too strong and they should withdraw the soul pet quickly to prevent it. Then Ting angrily said withdraw. Then Gu Feng and the others unsummoned their soul pets while saying they admit defeat, which made Luo call them a bunch of trash. The wolf gets down, and suddenly something cut its neck fast, and its head falls to the ground while Mozai gets down. The owner panicked and Luo was shocked. then angrily order his team to leave the Moonlight Fox to him. Then Luo's dark shadow pet walks forward. Then a violet flame appeared behind Mozai, which made Mozai confused. Suddenly a hand come out of it and try to grab Mozai. Fortunately, Mozai avoided it. When he looked back, Dark Shadow's hands are touching Mozai's shadow, and when he tried to move, his feet were unable to move. Luo said after getting hit by Dark Shadows, activate Stealing Shadow Soul Seize. They should see how Mozai will move. Steal Shadow Soul Seize as a hand enters enemy's shadow, making the enemy's body unmovable, at the same time unable to use any mental spirit technique. Ting tells Chumu that they have all admitted defeat, so he shouldn't be stubborn because it's better to keep Moonlight Fox alive. Chumu think for a while and unsummon Mozai while telling Luo that he had strong technique, but he's unable to stop the withdrawn call. When his unsummoned slowly processing, someone uses a mental seal at him which made his unsummoned unable. Then Cao Yi tells him that it is such an interesting battle, so they should enjoy it more. Chumu's team looks at Cao Yi and him, and Ting asks Chumu if he's alright. But Cao Yi tells her that if he doesn't want to die, she should move aside. Luo said Mozai is still trying to resist and fight back, which made his teammates said he should let him annihilate Mozai. Then he orders his flame tail to attack Mozai. Chumu, who's in pain, shout to order Mozai to remove the acting pitiful state. Suddenly Flame's tail attack hit Mozai, which made Chumu fear what happened to Mozai. The man said after getting hit by 3 fireballs from his flame tail, he's sure Mozai is dead. When the fire disappeared, Luo was shocked and ordered his teammates to order his flame tail to retreat, which made the man confused. Then Mozai jumps and attacks the flame tail using its moonlight claw. Luo and the man can't believe that Mozai is alive. Cao Yi pressed down Chumu's head angrily while asking him how dare he trick him too, and the other sub-island masters realize that the Moonlight Fox is already stage 2, rank 4, and ask how did Mozai be immune to those fireball attacks, and if it has already undergone fire attribute soul crystal training. Luo angrily orders his teammates to attack together to kill Mozai with teamwork. Then their pets slowly walk toward Mozai. The pets are Root Demon Plant, Rhino Beast, and Red Scorpion. But Mozai just looks at his enemy, and Chumu's team wishes Mozai good luck. Chumu ordered Mozai to go all out, to which Mozai followed. The girl ordered his Thorn Demon and the man ordered the Wind Demon to attack. The Thorn Demon uses its vines to attack, while the Wind Demon uses a tornado, but Mozai just avoided it all. That made the girl angry and said Mozai is so crafty. The man orders his Root Demon Plant to block Mozai, to which it activates its plant and run toward Mozai. Chumu order Mozai to dodge, but his words are interrupted by pain. Cao Yi angrily tells him that they should see how long his soul energy will last, which made Mozai look back because he's worried about Chumu and got hit by Root Demon Plant. Chumu, who's in pain, orders Mozai to use his flame light, to which Mozai followed and set on fire the Root Demon Plant. The plant shouted in pain, and its owner unsummoned it while saying flame attacks are too effective toward plant types, so he will withdraw his Root Demon Plant first. Luo called the man idiot and said the flame will still continue to run in his soul pet space, but the man tells Luo to stop lying. Suddenly the man feels something strange and a fire comes out of him. Then a second later he was covered in fire, which made Luo angry. Cao Yi angrily tells Chumu that he has hidden so much of his strength, but Chumu just smile and tell Cao Yi that they should enjoy the battle to the end. On the other hand, Mozai was looking at his enemies. The lady wonders what's Mozai origin, while the other one realizes that even if they can win the match, they also can't beat the remaining teams, but Luo tells his team not to panic because they can win the battle. Chumu, who's still in Cao Yi's hand, orders Mozai to attack, to which Mozai followed and cut off the Rhino Beast's head, but the dog pet caught Mozai's feet. Then Mozai attacks its head and jumps off to the ground. Mozai looks at the Wind Demon, but the Dark Shadow comes forward to protect Wind Demon, and puts its hand on the ground that made a Dark Shadow shield. Mozai activates his power and attacks the shield using its Blood Cleavage Claw. The Dark Shadow shield was cut in half. Also, Wind Demons and Dark Shadows got hit too, which made their owner, the Master, and the Sub-Island Master shocked, and Cao Yi angrily tightens his hand, who was holding Chumu. Luo's team unsummoned their pets while saying Chumu was too strong and they can't win, so they withdraw and let Chumu win. Liu got angry and called his team a bunch of trash. Then he summoned his pet while angrily asking what's the point of letting them live. A big wolf come out and killed Luo's member, which made Luo cry in fear. When his team was all killed, he shouted in disbelief while Louis ordered him to summon his Nightmare Demon and continue fighting. Luo said if he summons the Nightmare Demon, he won't have enough soul energy to supply and nurture it, to which Liu orders his pet to kill Luo, but Luo stand up and said he understands. Then Luo kneeled and called his Nightmare Demon. A few moments later, the Nightmare Demon come out of his body. Mozai, who's looking at the Nightmare Demon, feels fear. Then the Nightmare Demon comes closer to Mozai and attacks it, which made Mozai thrown away and land on the ground. Then the violet fire in his tail slowly spread and set Mozai on fire, which made Chumu cry and called Mozai name. A few minutes later, Mozai collapsed while still on fire. Kaui smiles and looks at Chumu to say that he should give up on his moonlight fox because whether he dies with it or let it die alone is his choice. Then he throws Chumu. Then Chumu angrily called his white nightmare demon. Then it slowly come out of him, which made Chumu surprised and stand up with his white nightmare demon behind his back. Then Chumu angrily look back and see Kaui on the ground, wondering why his mental attack gets cancelled. On the other hand, the sub-island masters were standing in shock because Chumu is nurturing a white nightmare demon. Even the masters stand up and said Chumu's negative emotions lured white nightmare demon to possess him. Chumu run toward Mozai, who is still on fire, and used the rapid freeze on Luo's nightmare demon. Then he lifts up Mozai, to which his hand got burned, and uses his soul to try to get the fire off to Mozai. The white nightmare demon got angry and releases a lot of power. Then it looks at the nightmare demon and Luo, who was crying in fear. Then Chumu order Mozai to use demon flame's flame light, to which it did and burned Luo's nightmare demon that made Luo cough blood and collapsed on the ground while his nightmare demon faded away. Chumu tells Mozai that he did good work and he should rest up. When Mozai goes inside the soul pet space, Chumu looked back at Kaui. Kaui tried to run away while its cloth was on fire, and when he looked at his clothes he shouted in pain. Kaui swings his knife and cut off his clothes that were on fire, but Chumu tell Kaui that is dead, and he orders his demon, but before he can give an order his soul slowly decreases. Kaui, who noticed it, said it looks like Chumu was on his limit. Then he summoned his pet. Then a wolf come out and immediately attacked Chumu. Fortunately, Chumu avoided it, but Kaui still order his pet to kill Chumu. Then it roars at Chumu, but someone grabbed its tail, and when it looked back, it saw a white nightmare demon. Chumu recognized it in shock and remember his past. Kaui Wolf was injured on the ground, but the white demon grabbed it again and squeezed it under his master, who was looking at Chumu. He realizes that the man is the one that kidnapped him and brought him to Nightmare Island. Then Kaui kneeled down and called the man Lord Zia. Kaui tells Zia that Chumu's soul energy isn't enough to supply the white nightmare demon anymore, and is helping him to kill Chumu. But Zia tells Kaui not to explain because he has witnessed everything that happened there, including the fact that he used his mental spirit seal to force Chumu not to withdraw his soul pet. Then Zia peeks back and tells Kaui angrily that he's trying to kill someone who has the potential and success in nurturing a white nightmare demon. Then he orders his people to bring Kaui away, to which his people immediately followed. Chumu looked at Kaui, who's being dragged away, then his eyes slowly closed. Then he passed out on the ground. On the other hand, the lady in the audience watches Chumu. A few hours later, in the boat, Chumu wake up and Zia looks at him. Chumu immediately stand up and asks Zia why he kidnaps him and brings him to Nightmare Island. Zia responded that his family has fallen and had already been removed from the gang Luo City's top 4 families, losing authority and power. He should understand what it means. Chumu think for a moment and angrily asks Zia if Yang Luo Bin hires him to kill him. Zia responded that whether is it Yang Luo or not is not certain, but it was indeed people from Yang family, but Yang family didn't give him what they promised, so sooner or later he will deal with that family. Zia also told Chumu that he told him all because he thinks he's full of potential, and he can become a very strong tamer, but Princess asks him to let him live, to which Chumu asks who Princess he's talking about. Then they looked to the side and saw a pretty lady reading a book peacefully. Then Chumu looked at Zia and said he don't know that princess and asked why is she helping him out. Zia responded maybe she thinks he's pitiful because she was the same as him, nurturing a white nightmare demon at a young age, but currently it has reached stage 4. Then Zia tells Chumu that he has 2 choices. 1, he takes white nightmare out of him, and he can return to his family and live a peaceful life, or 2, go to Prison Island. Prison Island is open once every 3 years and over 3,000 criminals are set there. After 3 years, only 1 person lives. Zia happily tells Chumu that if he can come out alive from the Prison Island, he will give him the white nightmare demon and take him in. Also, promote him as one of the Nightmare Palace's members. Then Zia creepily explained that the first path is he can struggle to live and wait for his pitiful family to gradually decline, and the second path is if he can survive, he can become one of the strong few. Chumu think carefully while Zia asks him which one will he choose between those 2 paths. Chumu think if he returns the white nightmare demon to Zia, he can bring Mozai back, and that should still be enough to help his family, but he knows the Yang family won't let them off easily, and he might give his family even more burden. Zia tells him that he can give him some time to consider, but Chumu said he has already decided, and confidently said after 3 years he will exit the Prison Island. To which Zia smiled and said they don't have to let him go in front of the princess, then kill him in the dark. Then he starts to walk away. The princess asks Zia if Chumu really can survive after entering the Prison Island. but Zia just responded that whether can or not, that's Chumu's choice. A few days later, the winged tiger arrives at their boat. Then Zia ordered Chumu to get on it because it will deliver him to a prison island. Chumu get on it and patted it while saying it was such a strong winged tiger. Zia tells him that after 3 years, the winged tiger will fly to the island to pick him up. Then the tiger fly fast while Chumu shouted that he understand. A few moments later, they saw some island, to which made Chumu ask if that was the prison island. Then they fly toward it. Then the winged tiger looks back. Chumu was confused. Then the caterpillar appear at Chumu's shoulder. Chumu called it a greedy little one and asked it why it only woke up now, but it was looking up shocked, which made Chumu confused and look up while asking what are it looking at. Then his face changed in horror because he saw a big tornado behind them. Then he ordered the winged tiger to quickly leave the place and hurry up to go down. Then they go down immediately and go inside the tree's leaves, making the winged tiger and Chumu lose a sight. The winged tiger was shocked because it didn't notice the tree, then they crashes. The ice falcon, who was peacefully sleeping on the branch of the tree, woke up in shock and looked down, then see the winged tiger and Chumu on the ground. The falcon gets angry, then flies off and made a piece of sharp ice in the air. Then attack the winged tiger and Chumu, who's dizzy on the ground. But the winged tiger notices it and turns around to stand up. Then roar loudly, to which the falcon ice break. Then the falcon flies away immediately. Chumu thanked the winged tiger, but it just fly away while Chumu told it to see him in 3 years. Chumu summoned Mozai, then they start to walk while he's telling Mozai that they should head off. A few moments later, they were still in the forest, then the green worm walked toward Chumu's hand. Then Chumu opened the bush while asking the green worm if it's saying that there's something there. He was surprised to see a man inside the ice, and he realizes that the man must be instantly frozen to death because the man isn't wounded. Suddenly the green worm was shocked while looking up, and when Chumu looked up he saw the ice falcon again. Then the falcon attacks him using ice, but Mozai dissolves it using his fire. Then Mozai hit it using his claw. The falcon starts to fly away crying while Chumu and Mozai was chasing it. While running, Chumu looks at the angry green worm wondering what's with it because it seems more energetic. Then green worm spit a silk net toward the ice falcon and the net trapped it. Then the ice falcon shouted. Then many ice falcons arrived that made Chumu panic because they were surrounded by many stage 3 ice falcons. Then he shouted for Mozai to run. Then the ice falcons made lots of sharp ice in the sky and attacked them with it. Fortunately, they hide behind the tree in time, but the tree trunk is about to destroy because of it. Chumu hugged Mozai while saying he didn't expect to die as soon as he reached the island. On the other hand, the green worm was angry. Then it spit silk and caught one of the ice falcon legs. Then it flies toward the ice falcon, to which Chumu panicky asked it to come back. But it didn't let go of its silk even with the ice falcon dragging it away, and even Chumu's orders it to let go of the silk. Then it started to spin itself and wrapped itself in its silk. Then it spin fast while spitting more silk that stick to the tree and other ice falcons. Chumu was shocked that the green worm made a spider web and put the wrapped ice falcons to it. Chumu wonder if the green worm is going through pupation. Suddenly he hears something behind him, then he hid behind the tree while holding Mozai, and saw the man looking at the web shock. Chumu realized that the man is another prisoner, and he knows that he can't let the man affect the green worm. Then he comes out of hiding and looks at the man angrily. The man looked back and said he meet another one seeking death. Then he touched the silk while telling Chumu that he have bad luck meeting him there, but the silk wrapped around the man's head and body. When the man was covered by silk, he still managed to summon his demon tiger. The demon tiger arrives and tried to free his master, but the silk wrapped around it too. Chumu fearfully said stage 4 demon tiger also can't rip off green worm's silk. When the man and his pets are fully covered by silk, the man drops his bag and bolo on the ground. Chumu fearfully tried to put his finger on the silk and touched it, then immediately pulled his finger back. Green worm's silk didn't move, to which Chumu realized that green worm is able to differentiate him and Mozai. Then he opened the man's bag and saw many soul techniques and food. Chumu said that the bald man sure has some treasures, and thanks to him he benefited quite a lot. Then he opens one of the books wondering what type of worm goes through pupation, and what soul pet is the green worm. Chumu is shocked to read that the green worm named Cocoon Race often goes through pupation while becoming stage 2. And the higher the race level of the raccoon race soul pet, the longer the pupation. Then he flipped the page while saying the description seems to match the green worm and asked what's the green worm's final form. But he was disappointed to read that the cocoon race description is unknown and currently has no skill details. Chumu closed the book while saying even though he's not certain what the green worm will turn into, he's curious and have high hopes. Then he tells Mozai, who's bathing smiling while singing that they should guard the cocoon and wait for the green worm to come out. 7 days later, Chumu and Mozai were bored, but Chumu said the cocoon is getting bigger and bigger. Then he stand up while saying they can't keep staying there to guard, and he tells Mozai that they also need to become stronger. Mozai touched the cocoon sad while telling something, but Chumu patted him and tell him not to worry because the green worm's cocoon is very tough and strong, so no one can hurt it. Chumu told Mozai that they should head off and come back regularly to check on the green worm. Then Mozai licked his hand happily. Then they proceed to walk away. A few moments later, they arrived at the dead end of the forest. Chumu said that it was a cliff, and he guessed they have to go back to where they came from. But when he looked back, he saw Mozai looking down at the cliff. Then he looks at the cliff also while asking if there was something below, and there was a cave with a block of ice in the side. Chumu, who was looking at the cave, said that the place is inhabited by those ice falcons, and maybe there's some special ice attribute soul pet hidden in the cave. Then they get down using the vines in the side and jump toward the cave. Chumu was welcomed by a very strong wind. Then he ordered Mozai to use his flame attachment. Then they walk inside the cave while Mozai releases fire, and Chumu says the newly learned soul technique came in handy. Then he saw something shining at the end of the cave. When they arrive at the end, they were stunned to see something inside the big ice crystal. Chumu touched it while asking what is sealed inside the ice crystal. Suddenly it slowly breaks. Chumu was shocked and jumped back. Then it exploded and released the ice fairy element world. It's an ice type fairy race and high rank soul pet. Chumu tell Mozai to be careful because the ice fairy can create such a large ice sealed cave, and it must be quite strong. Mozai jumps toward it, to which the ice fairy is confused. Chumu ordered Mozai to use flame attachment. Mozai followed and launched an attack on the ice fairy, then hit it using claw fire. The ice fairy was thrown into the wall hard, but the fire claws that Mozai did faded away in an instant. Then the fairy angrily looks at them and made lots of swords, then attacks using them. But Mozai avoided it all. The ice fairy raises its hand, and its swords lift up from the ground. Then she pointed it at Mozai. Chumu ordered Mozai to run around in a circle, to which Mozai followed and made the fairy confused. Mozai fire gathers around the ice fairy, which made her ice swords melt, and she's panicky looking around for an escape. Chumu laughed while thinking the ice fairy is silly and cute, but it doesn't have combat experience, and with his training, it will become a strong soul pet. Then he orders Mozai to continue restraint the ice fairy because he will capture it. Suddenly he hears a sound, and Chumu realized that it was the crying sound of ice falcons. Then the ice falcons started to go inside the cave. Chumu realized that the ice falcons are coming in. Then he looks at the ice fairy, who's still panicking, knowing that he has to tame it quickly. Then he tried to tame it, then the ice fairy stopped moving. A few seconds later, the falcon arrives. Chumu knows that he'll die if he stays there any longer. Then he shouts for Mozai to retreat. Then they start running, leaving the ice fairy confused. While running, Chumu thinks his escaping decision was saw by the ice fairy, so he wonders if it accepts his soul contract. But the ice fairy flies with him, to which Chumu thinks it sure runs very fast. Then the ice falcons chase them. Chumu angrily asks Mozai if he lured the ice falcons again. Then the ice falcons attack them using sharp pieces of ice. Fortunately, they avoided it but got thrown away. A few moments later, inside the cave still, Chumu was reading a book while saying the ice fairy can use all kind of ice type skills, and among general rank soul pets, it has the top few top-notch talents. Then he grabs the ice fairy's ear, who's sleeping, to wake up. Then he heard someone saying the cave is not bad and they should rest there, to which his companion agreed. Then the man saw Chumu and tells his friend that someone is there. Then the old guy said that they should kill Chumu, to which his big friend agreed, and they summon their pets. Then 2 ice falcons come out. Chumu angrily said it was ice falcons again and asked if he have an attraction for birds. The ice fairy woke up and killed the 2 ice falcons using her ice sword. Then the 2 men run away in fear, while the ice fairy attacks them using the ice sword, slashing the big guy's back. Chumu ordered the fairy to use the ice wall, to which the fairy did. But Chumu was shocked to see a big chunk of ice in front of them. Chumu's hand shook in anger, but when he looked at the ice fairy, she was crying. Chumu patted its head while saying it was fine because she lacked combat experience, and she will understand his orders next time. Then they break the big chunk of ice and get out of the cave. Then Chumu saw something on the ground, and he said those are all the things the 2 men dropped when escaping. Then he grabs the paper with a mark and realizes that it seems to be an item from Nightmare Palace. Chumu opens the paper in shock to see his name and Kaoya's name. Chumu wonder if that is the list of 3,000 prisoners on the prison island. Then he said it must be a Nightmare Palace doing spirit soul seals on all prisoners, and after death, the spirit soul disappears. Then the name will also become dim on the scroll, while the ice fairy was confused beside him. Then it looked behind the paper and pointed at it. Chumu turned the paper around confused and saw the prison island's portion map. Chu-Mu think he has to chase up the two men and ask them about it. Then the ice fairy grabs the paper and lifts it up happily, leaving Chu-Mu stunned in shock. Then the ice fairy flies with it happily while Chu-Mu order it to give him the scroll back and tell it to stop fooling around. Chu-Mu said it seems like he need to give the ice fairy a name, which made the fairy stop flying in shock. Then Chu-Mu asked it how do Ning sounds, and the ice fairy fly closer to Chu-Mu and agree. Then he happily said he's a master at naming. A few hours later, when the sun was going to set, Chu-Mu was walking in the forest knowing that the two men should have headed that way. Suddenly he heard someone calling for help. Then he climbs up at the tree branch and saw the big man with other men who was ordering him to hand over the map. But the big man responded that it really was not with him because Deacon passed the map to another prisoner and he can recognize Deacon, so he can help him. Chu-Mu realized that the map is given by Deacon, but he wonders what other uses it has. The man tells the big man that he wastes his precious time, so he can die now. Then he summoned his pet. Then the beast bites off the man's head. Chu-Mu said it was the blood beast and that's the Yang family's sole pet, so he wondered if there could be people from the Yang family on the island. The man tells his blood beast that they should go back and meet up with other. Then Chu-Mu saw the man with red hair. Then he realized that it was young Jaida. A few years ago, in some palace, Chu-Mu was being bullied by Jaida. Jaida tells him that his family is trash. Then someone tells Jaida to let go of his little brother, and Chu-Mu cryingly called his brother named Chu-Ning. Then Chu-Ning summoned his pet, but Jaida just asked him who did he think he was. Then a few seconds later, Chu-Ning's pet was dead on the ground. Then Jaida laughed and said as expected, the Chu family is filled with trash. Chu-Mu angrily ordered Mozai to come out, to which Mozai did, and jumped toward Jaida. The blood beast notices it, and Jaida and his beast quickly turn around and they both look at Mozai, while Jaida says another person seeking death. Then Chu-Mu showed himself, to which Jaida fearfully said it was Chu-Mu. Then he asks Chu-Mu why is he here, and Chu-Mu responded it's all thanks to them, the Yang family. Jaida smiles while thinking it's just trash and a stinky fox, so there's nothing to be scared of. Then he orders his blood beast to slaughter them, but Mozai just looks at it and uses his moon shadow clone. The blood beast attacked Mozai, but it was just Mozai clone. Then Mozai hit the blood beast's eye, that made it angrier. Jaida said it was such a cheap trick and such small damage that will only excite the monster and make it go wild. Then the blood beast attacked Mozai using its head. Mozai was thrown inside the bush, then the blood beast destroyed it to find him, but Mozai appeared above it, and uses its moon claw to attack it. Jaida can't believe it, but Chu-Mu tell him that his soul pet only has power, but has no brain, so it's too stupid. Then he orders Mozai to kill Jaida. Then Jaida runs away while telling Chu-Mu to just wait. Then he uses Windbind to make a tornado and throws Mozai away, but he tripped on a small stone and fall to the ground face first. Mozai runs toward him while he's angrily saying he will make Chu-Mu pay. Then he summoned his bloodthirst beast. His pet immediately shouted when it come out, that made a loud noise. Chu-Mu realized that the bloodthirst beast attack is very effective and very deadly to Mozai. He also knows that it would be a hard matchup for Mozai, so he shall let Ning with better defense skills to fight. Then he orders Mozai, who's very angry, to come back, but he notices that Mozai didn't want to come back and asks if he wants to continue fighting. Mozai looks back at him showing his claws, to which Chu-Mu understands and happily tells Mozai to have fun fighting. Jaida put his hand on the ground while using Thorn's bind. Then a thorns come out under Chu-Mu and Mozai's ground. Chu-Mu uses rapid freeze techniques to freeze the thorns while Mozai jumps toward their enemy. Suddenly the bloodthirst beast encounters Mozai's. Then Mozai uses his charm, but Jaida order his bloodthirst beast to enter the bloodthirst mode, to which his pet followed, making Mozai charm ineffective and attack Mozai using its claws. Chu-Mu cried and called Mozai worried. Mozai falls to the ground injured, then the bloodthirsty beast looks at Chu-Mu who's worried. Jaida orders his pet to kill Mozai, then it walks toward Mozai. Chu-Mu jump in front and use Ice Fairy double ice wall. The big wall of ice comes out in front of them, but the bloodthirst beast breaks it and uses sharp pieces of ice to hit Chu-Mu, which made him land on the ground hard. Mozai opens his eyes and sees Chu-Mu injured next to him. Then he stands up shakingly and looks at the bloodthirst beast angrily. Then he closes his eyes and let go of his pitiful look. The bloodthirst beast flies toward him to attack, but a big tornado blocks it. Inside of Tornado was angry Mozai who was protecting his master. Then Mozai transformed and its tail increased. Chu-Mu was shocked, but Jaida was more shocked to see the powerful and big tornado in front of him. Then Jaida ordered his bloodthirst beast to stop Mozai, but his pet was afraid to move. He angrily asked it what it was doing. but its feet just shake and look at the tornado in fear. A few minutes later, Mosai come out of the tornado completely changed and with 6 tails. The bloodthirst beast was shocked when Mosai disappeared immediately, then Mosai cut it into pieces, to which its feet, hands, and head were cut off. Jaida looks at his pet fearfully and runs while he's using his wind tornado to block Mosai, but Mosai breaks through easily and attack him with fire claws, cutting his arm. Then Jaida begged Chumu not to kill him because he'll tell him everything he wants to know. Still, Chumu stab him in the chest and walk away back inside the forest. Inside the cave, Chumu was reading a book while saying Mosai just mutated and became an Evil Flame 6-tailed demon fox. Evil Flame 6-tailed demon fox is a demon spirit type beast. It's 6-tailed demon fox's royal family, talented, rated as high rank general rank, but similarly, rank or lower combat ability isn't weaker than some commander rank soul pet. Its race skills are Demon Fire and Evil Flame, also its basic skills are Shadow Claw, Assault, Evil Gaze, and Instant Demon Pressure. Chumu looked at Mosai who was currently sleeping and said the prison island treasure will definitely be his. Then he closes the book and closes his eyes. Remembering Jaida said to encourage prisoners on Prison Island to fight, Nightmare Palace has hidden a treasure on the island, and the map's back records all the dead prisoners' names, so if he wants the treasure he must kill the other prisoners. Jaida also said they request Zia Guanghan to help them but don't have enough to pay him, so Zia robbed all of their family's heirlooms as a reward for this, and the Yang family sent a group of people to the island prison to get the heirlooms back. Chumu swears that he'll kill all of the Yang family's people. 1 month later, Chumu was looking at Happy Ning who had just done practice while thinking that after 1 month of training, Ning's combat ability and experience increased. Ning notices something and flies away somewhere. Chumu followed Ning in confusion. A few minutes later, they arrived at the big block of stone. Then they go inside while Chumu asked Ning if the place have anything that attracts her. Ning showed something at Chumu, then pointed it somewhere while saying something. After learning a monster language, he can communicate with his soul pets. Then he asks Ning if she said that there's high-ranking medicine and herbs that will help her, to which Ning agreed. Then they continue to walk inside it. Ning pulled Chumu's cape, and he looked back in confusion, then see the Ice Valley ginseng near the cave and said that its ice attribute will greatly help ice attribute soul pets grow greatly. Suddenly someone looks at them angrily inside the cave. Chumu orders Ning to use ice armor, to which Ning immediately did. Then a monster jumped toward them. Fortunately, Ning blocked it using her ice wall in time, but it broke Ning's ice wall and cut her into pieces. It also hit Chumu in the process, which made Chumu thrown away. Chumu wondered what happened. Then he saw a tiger angrily shouting and he realizes that it was a rank 5 stripes demon tiger. Ning slowly gathers herself together, then Chumu ordered her to come back to the soul pet space while thinking that luckily Ning is an element type that doesn't have blood or a heart. If not, the stripes demon tiger claw would have killed her. Suddenly he was shocked because the monster attacked him. Fortunately, he avoided it in time, but he was pushed to the end of the crack. Then he realizes that his current place is so narrow, so he wonders if it being trapped here. Then the tiger walks away while he's wondering if he can only give up on the herbs there, but he realizes that there's still a way while finding something in his bag. Then he pulled out Yang Jaida's ring that can be used to store the soul pet that hasn't signed a contract. Then he wore the ring while saying that the rank 5 stripes demon tiger must have some wisdom and intelligence, so he should try using monster language and communicate with it. Then he tells the tiger that if it agrees to enter his space ring, he'll bring him out of that place, but it just looks at Chumu and roar at him angrily. Chumu tell it that there will be many more people appearing on that island, so if he's trapped in that place, he will get killed by those people. But it just walks away while Chumu shout that since he doesn't believe him, then he shall leave, but it just lay down again ignoring Chumu's word. Then it starts peeking. On the other hand, Chumu and Mosai were trying to drag the pig. Then Chumu throw it in front of Stripes demon tiger who was in shock. Chumu start to walk away while telling it that the pig is food for him and he hopes his companion can find him and get him out of there. While he was walking away, something shine inside his chest. Then he pulled out the scroll while saying it brightens, which means some prisoners having scrolls are nearby. Then he opens it, but the light is extinguished. Then he turns it and it brightens again. Chumu look at his side realizing that the other prisoners are in that direction. Then he put the scroll in the hole he made while saying he should bury it first, so the other prisoners won't be able to find him. Then he buries it and steps on it hard to make sure. Then he made a mark on the tree near where he buried the scroll. A few moments later, a man named Ang Jinglai and Yang Jinglian arrived. Jinglian said the scroll brightens a few seconds ago, so there must be another prisoner nearby. But Jinglai tells him not to care about that person first because they should capture the striped demon tiger. To which he agreed and said with it they can roam freely around the prison island. Chu peeked behind the tree and said those people are from the Yang family. Then outside the crack, Jing Lion tells Jing Lai that he'll try to tease the striped demon tiger first, to which Jing Lai tells him not to go too near and maintain his distance. Jing Lion said he know it and he don't have to tell him that. Then he goes inside the crack and saw the striped demon tiger back. Jing Lion summoned his wind demon and attacked the monster using a tornado. The tiger got angry and tries to slash him, but it can't reach him, and he teases it. On the other hand, Chu was above him watching. Then Chu smiled and blocked Jing Lion way out using the ice wall while Jing Lion still teasing the striped demon tiger. Then Jing Lion stops teasing and wonders why it's suddenly cold there. Then he looks back and is shocked to see ice swords attacking him. He jumps backward to avoid it and angrily asks who attacked him. Then Chu tell him to look behind him because the striped demon tiger can hit him. When he looked back, he saw the tiger claws launching toward him. Then he shouted in horror, to which Jing Lai, who was reading a book, heard. Then realizes that it's Jing Lion. Then he runs toward the crack worried. On the other hand, Chu tell the striped demon tiger, who's currently eating Jing Lion, that sooner or later he'll be surrounded by more people if he stays there, to which it looks at Chu and ignore him with attitude. When Jing Lion arrives, he was shocked to see his brother's head gone. Then he cried angrily, asking if the striped demon tiger actually killed his brother. Suddenly an ice sword attacked him, then many more ice swords landed on him, which made him run outside the crack. Then he was surprised to see Chu because he knows that Chu's already dead. But Chu just teasingly asked him if he didn't expect to meet the dead person. Jing Lai angrily summoned his pet, but before he can do it, Chu ordered Ning to attack Jing Lai using ice swords. Jiang Lai cancelled his summon and made a defensive skin to block the ice swords. Chu ordered Ning to continue to suppress Jing Lai, and not to give him any chance to summon his soul pet, to which Ning followed. Suddenly, Ning was shocked to see someone with his pet running toward her. Then the man stopped in front of Jing Lai. The man named Shangxi, a servant of Yang family. Chu realized that Chi's soul pet is a 5th phase 7th stage rare blood beast. Jing Lai angrily asks Xi where he is up to. Then he orders Xi to kill Chu quickly and avenge his brother, to which she agreed. Then the blood beast turns around and runs toward Chu to attack, but Chu just smile and order the striped demon tiger to come out. Then it comes out and roar powerfully, which made the blood beast and Xi thrown away. Then Chu teasingly asks Jing Lai if he truly thinks that only he has a helper. Soul Pet Master rank is distributed into Soul Apprentice, Soul Warrior, Soul Master, Soul Lord, and many more. A Soul Master's cultivation uses mind power as a standard, 9 mind power as 1 soul, and increasing 1 level means increasing 1 soul. Every time one increases 3 mind power can sign a new soul contract with a soul pet. Then after the soul increases, one can summon 1 more soul pet at the same time. Then the Soul Master can sign a soul contract with any race, but a weak Soul Master won't sign soul pets weaker than them, and sign high-level soul pets. Once they are unable to suppress the monster, they will get betrayed or devoured. Chu just have 4 mind powers Soul Apprentice. Then he signed a soul contract with a high-level soul pet, but the soul pet betrayed him and left. Then the soul pet that leave is counted as a summon state. That's the reason why when Chu is a soul warrior, he can only summon 1 soul pet. Chu's matter became Gunro City's joke, but now he's fighting for himself. Jing Lai angrily asks Chu if the Stripes Demon Tiger is willing to sign a soul contract with him, but she explained that the Striped Tiger came from the soul pet ring, so it's not Chu's soul pet, to which Jing Lai exhaled in relief. Then she summoned his 2 soul pets at the same time while telling Jing Lai that the Striped Demon Tiger is willing to enter the soul pet ring, which means Chu and it decided to work together, so they must be careful. Then she soul pets Blood Beast ranks 4 stage 7, and Terror Wolf ranked 4 stage 3 comes out. Chu tell the Striped Demon Tiger that he'll leave those 2 to him. Then he orders Ning to make an ice wall, to which Ning followed, and put ice in the ground to separate Xi and Jing Lai. When the ice wall is fully completed, on the other side was Striped Demon Tiger with Blood Beast and Terror Wolf, and on another side was Ning and Blood Beast. The Blood Beast run toward Ning and attack him using its claws. Fortunately, Ning blocked it using his hand. Then she fly backward, look at her wounds, and healed them. Jing Lai said Ning has high defense. Then he summoned his pet while telling Chu that he can only summon 1 soul pet, so they should see how much longer he can last. The soul pet named Blade Wing Demon rank 4 stage 3 comes out. Then the Wing Demon and Blood Beast run toward Ning. Then the Blood Beast uses Bloodthirst Spit, and the Wing Demon used its sharp feather, but Ning calmly closed her eyes and made an ice wall to block the attacks. Chu ordered Ning to use Rapid Freeze, to which Ning followed and freeze the Blood Beast. Then she made many ice swords and swing her hand to attack the Blade Wind Demon using it, and she also hit the Blood Beast too. but Jinglai just smiled and summoned his other pet while telling Chumu that he forced him. A soul pet named Devour Star Wolf rank 3. Stage 3 comes out, then it immediately attacks Ning using its Devour Star, which made Ning worried. Then it landed on the ground holding one of Ning's hand and eat it. Ning falls down on the ground and Jinglai laugh while telling Chumu to look at his soul pet struggling. Chumu summoned Mozai, while Jaida teasingly tells him to show him what other trash soul pets he has. Then Mozai comes out, which made Jaida laugh hysterically while saying as expected of the number 1 trash in their city. Then he orders his Devour Star Wolf to devour Mozai, to which his pet followed and jumps toward Mozai. But before it can get to where Mozai was, Mozai changes to his evil flame 6-tailed demon appearance. Mozai jumps toward the devoured Star Wolf and bites it, then it's covered in fire. Jaida can't believe what he's seeing because Devour Star Wolf is nurtured by his family using a lot of money, so he wonders how can it be instantly killed. Then he orders his Blade Wing Demon to ignore the fox and kill Chumu. The Wing Demon uses its blade feather to attack Chumu, but he just smiles and uses Charm Ice Armor and blocks its attack. Jinglai angrily orders the Blade Wing Demon to continue attacking and tell Chumu that they should see how long his ice armor will last. Chumu ordered Mozai to use his evil gaze at Winged Demon, to which Mozai followed, and made the Winged Demon fear him. Then Chumu teasingly tells Jinglai that his soul pet is trash because it was destroyed by just evil gaze. Jinglai tried to summon another blood beast while Mozai runs toward him. He successfully summoned it, but it got attacked in instant, and got cut into many pieces which put him in horror. Then he angrily shouts at she to quickly come and help him destroy the ice wall, but the striped demon tiger breaks the ice wall instead and drops she's hand on the ground. Jaida saw it, kneeled on the ground, and cried in failure. Chumu said everyone from the Yang family shall not escape and he killed Jinglai. Then the striped demon tiger walked toward him and looked at him closely, which made him wonder in fear if it also thinks of eating him. But it just drop another she's hand in front of him, and walk away leaving Chumu thinks it's so strong that it killed Shangxi who was strong unscathed. Then he imagined that if you have a soul pet as strong as a striped demon tiger it will be so good. Suddenly Mozai bites his head because of jealousy, but Chumu patted its head while telling it not to worry because he'll become much stronger than the striped demon tiger. Then he looks to the side remembering that the striped demon tiger brought him she's hand. Then he notices a ring in she's hand, and grab it wondering what's inside of it. The ring is relatively smaller compared to the soul pet ring and it is used to store items. Chumu closes his eyes, then the ring shines and he opens his eyes shocked. Then he said it's a soul armor and that she bastard had such treasure. Then he wore it, and closed his eyes knowing that he just need to insert his soul energy into the soul armor, and once the soul armor is infused with his soul energy, he can summon it whenever he wants. After the process, he activates it, then Mozai excitedly jumps toward him because it saw his armor. Chumu asks Mozai if he wants one too and tells it not to worry because Soul Pet also has their specialized soul armor, and maybe other members of the Yang family have it, which made Mozai happy. The soul armor ring shine and released a lot of medicines. Chumu said those medicine can heal Ning to recover, and he take out the Cold Valley herb in his bag while saying Ning can also consume it. Suddenly the medicine jar rolled toward his feet, to which he thinks there was another enemy, but when he looked back, he saw Ning drink all the medicines. Ning looks at him and flies toward him to grab the Cold Valley herb. After consuming it too, Ning's hand slowly regenerated. A few seconds later, Ning proudly showed his arms, which made Chumu shock, and realized that he didn't expect after Ning consumed medicines and Cold Valley herbs, Ning's skill directly become rank 3 peak. Then he laughs creepily while saying that now that 2 of his soul pets are at rank 3, Cao Yi and Yang family should just wait for him. 1 year later, someone tripped on a branch and landed on the ground face first. Then something jumps at his back hard and searches for something in his bag. Then it lifts up a scroll happily. Chumu said its 4th scroll, and get it from the Demon Tree Combat Warrior that Plant World, Wood Type, and Demon Tree Race. Also, it has a high-level general rank. Chumu opened the scroll and said after a year, the 3,000 prisoners are probably left with estimated 1,000. Meanwhile, somewhere in the part of the island prison, the scroll on the ground brightens. Cao Yi realizes that another prey appeared, then he stands up wondering who's the lucky one that come to him. Then he grabs the knife and gives it to the lady who's sitting at the side telling her that the scroll just lit, so she knows what to do, but the girl just looks at him. Cao Yi angrily called the girl named Xin Zhu, to which Zhu grabbed the scroll and knife, then said she understood. Zhu started to walk while sadly thinking that it was happening again. Then she remembered luring the man using her body, then grabbed the knife she was hiding behind her back, and killed the man. She wonders when will that type of life come to an end. It started to rain. Zhu walks inside the forest and sits in front of the tree while lifting her dress a little, and pulled down her dress to show her jugs. Then she hides the knife behind her back and acts pitiful while thinking she just needs to wait for prey to take the bait. She heard someone coming toward her, to which she realized that the prey's coming. When someone arrives in front of her, he tried to sound sexy, but when she looked up he saw Chumu looking at her. Then she jumped toward Chumu happily, but shy Chumu stopped her and backed off while saying he knows she used that method to attract people and take advantage of them. Zu panicky said it was not like that and is the only acquaintance she have seen in the past year besides Kaoyi. Chumu angrily asks her where is Kaoyi. She responded that Kaoyi is near the beach. Then Chumu start to walk away, leaving Zu telling him to quickly run away because Kaoyi will come there to check on the corpse soon. But Chumu said he won't hide from Kaoyi, to which Zu tells Chumu that is no match for Kaoyi, but Chumu just walk away. Meanwhile, near the beach, Kaoyi lying on the ground while eating an apple. Then he heard something and wonder why Zu came back so quickly. Suddenly a knife flies toward him and cuts his neck a little. Then Chumu showed himself and teasingly greet Kaoyi. Kaoyi tells him that he was planning to find him after leaving Prison Island, but he actually comes to him to die. But Chumu just opened his soul while telling Kaoyi to stop wasting time because he's there to take revenge for what happened a year ago. But before he can summon his pet, Kaoyi throw the knife back at him and cut his hand a little, making him unable to summon his pet. Then Kaoyi called his nightmare demon while asking him if he thinks only he knows how to sneak up on people. Then the nightmare demon spits a fireball to attack Chumu. Fortunately, Chumu run outside in time to avoid it. Kaoyi with his nightmare demon walks outside to chase him while Kaoyi says he hasn't seen him for a year, but he's still the same running away from a fight. Chumu with angry Mozai responds that he has a friend who also has a grudge to settle with him. Kaoyi was surprised to see Mozai change to six-tailed demon fox. Then Chumu and Mozai look at Kaoyi and his nightmare demon angrily. Mozai jumped toward the nightmare demon, to which Kaoyi said he can't let the nightmare demon withstand its direct attack. Then he summoned his pet while ordering it to stop Mozai. Then the wind demon comes out, but Mozai just cut it into pieces. Chumu happily said it was a trash soul pet. Then Mozai run toward the nightmare demon to attack, but it summoned something, to which changed Chumu's expression. The wolf comes out of it and attacks Mozai, but Mozai balanced himself on the ground and jumps to cut off the wolf's head. Kaoyi was stunned looking at his wolf without a head and angrily tells Chumu that he's dead. Then he orders his nightmare demon to burn Chumu to death, to which it followed and throws a burning fire, but Chumu blocked it in time using his charm technique Ice Wall. Then he orders Mozai to come back. He angrily realizes that their assault failed and if Mozai got hit by the evil flame, it's hard to heal. Then he summoned Ning. Then Ning comes out, to which Kaoyi angrily said Ice-type soul pet counters nightmare flame-type magic, so he has to quickly kill it. Then his nightmare demon gather a lot of evil flames and throws it toward Chumu, but Ning just calmly raises her hand and made a thick ice wall to block its attack. Then she pointed the ice swords toward the nightmare demon who's in fear. Chumu ordered Ning to use her ice dance, to which Ning followed and danced making a snowstorm. Ning slowly covered the nightmare demon with snow and trapped it inside the hard ice. Kaoyi was shocked and run away toward the cave, but he tripped and landed on the ground. He tried to stand up, but Ning trapped him inside the ice. Then Chumu, who's holding a big block of ice, tells him that today is the day he died. Meanwhile, Zu walked toward the beach and saw blood on the ground. She wondered if Kaoyi is dead. She's so happy that she cried and wipes her tears off, but then she realizes that Kaoyi is dead, so there's no one to protect her, and she wonders how does she continue living. On the other hand, Chumu found something inside the cave and said Kaoyi sure hides a lot of treasures. Then he excitedly lifts up the lightning and fire double attribute soul crystal. Suddenly he heard someone coming toward him, then Zu walk inside the cave. Zu hugs Chumu while asking if he can bring her along with him and begged him not to leave him alone on the island. But Chumu tells Zu to let him go. Zu throw him on the ground and said she was willing to do anything for him. Then she remove her belt. Then sit on the top of Chumu and said she just wants to live, and she promises to do anything he requests. Then she kissed Chumu's body, which made Chumu angry, and lift her up. Then Chumu switched their position and made the situation silent. Zu closed her eyes, but she opens her eyes again when she realizes Chumu didn't do it. Then she asks him why. Chumu responded that her life and death aren't related to him and that she should consider herself lucky because he spared her life. But Zu cryingly holds Chumu's cape while begging him not to abandon her because she's Ting Yu's friend. But Chumu tells her not to think that he didn't know she passed the Nightmare Island test by sacrificing her body, but Ting risked her life to pass the exam. And people like her who sacrifice their body just like her ain't fit to be Ting friend. Then Chumu tell her that if she follows her, she'll be dead too. Then Chumu walk away leaving Zu crying. When he's outside he wonders how's Ting doing, but he's sure that she's alright. 2 years later, somewhere, Zia fed some birds and said he wonder if Chumu's still alive. Then he summoned his pet and the winged tiger come out. He orders it to go to Prison Island and tells it that if Chumu isn't dead, bring him back directly. Then the winged tiger immediately flies away. Meanwhile, on the prison island, someone called his master Yang to tell the scroll lighten up again, and the man named Yang Het asks if could be Chumu purposely luring them to advance and if could be a trap. But Yang Zhang just responded, so what if Chumu purposely lured them there? Then he angrily orders Het to hurry up and kill Chumu if he doesn't wish to stay at that place. Zhang said his original plan was to kill all prisoners in 1 year and obtain the family heirloom. But he never expected so many experts to be killed by Chumu, so they were forced to stay there for 3 years. And fumingly said he won't let Chumu escape and he must kill him. Then they continue to walk inside the forest. Het pointed somewhere and tells Zhang that Chumu should be there. Then they saw a lot of silks covering the trees. Het said there are so many white silks and it must be a strong soul pet's territory. Zhang said it should be some Akodan worm type soul pet mutation, and it looks like to what his grandfather had told him. Rumors have said its Akodan type soul pet will turn into a cocoon while mutating, will spit out silk to cover the whole forest, and turn into something like a large organism's inner flesh. Also, the people call it God's organ. Het asked Zhang if they should temporarily leave from there, but Zhang responded that ancient soul pet is something even Soul Palace and Soul Union fought over. He also said that time they were so lucky to have met one, so they not leaving because if he can obtain it, dominating the whole side is easy. Then he touched the silk which made Het afraid. A few minutes later, they saw a large thing wrapped in silks a little far from them. Zhang was surprised and said it was really the god's organs. But Het tell him that he had bad intuition, so they should leave first. Zhang ignore him and said a living ancient soul pet in the cocoon is his. Then he jumps and runs away toward it, while Het fearfully following him. 4 minutes later, Het was shocked to see Chumu touching it. Then Zhang said they met a survivor again, but he tells Chumu that he can die now. The scroll Het holding shine and he fearfully tells Zhang something. Chumu looks back and look at them, to which Zhang summoned his pet while angrily telling Chumu that the cocoon is his, so he shouldn't think of obtaining it. The soul pets are named Thunder Fairy, and Three Eyes Blood Beast comes out. Then Zhang pets immediately jump and fly toward Chumu to attack, but Mo Zai just calmly walks toward it and glazes at it, which made the Three Eyes Blood Beast stops. But the Thunder Fairy gathers its thunder and attack Chumu because Zhang ordered it to kill Chumu first. Thunder Fairy attack exploded. That made Zhang proud of himself, and Het happily said as expected of Zhang, Chumu is helpless in front of his power. Zhang was shocked to see a deer coming out of the explosion and see Chumu riding it. Its name is Thunder Dream of the Night Beast, a fairy-type dream beast race. Zhang wonders if his lightning's being absorbed by it, but Chumu just order his beast named Zio-E to use Death Ray. Zio-E gathers the Death Ray in its horn and uses it toward Zhang. Unfortunately, Zhang gathers his power and activate his light shield, blocking the Death Ray attack. Het wonders what luck Chumu had to obtain a soul pet with both dark and lightning attributes, but Zhang shouted at him to stop talking and summoned his soul pet because they'll attack together and kill Chumu. Then Het summoned his pets, and the Three Eyes Blood Beast and Terror Wolf comes out of it. Chumu notice it and run away while teasingly telling them to come to catch him if they can. Het angrily orders his pets to follow Chumu because they'll kill him, to which his pets followed. Chumu looked back to check if they follow him, and when he was sure they stopped, then faces their enemy. Then he orders Zio-E to use a Dream Crush, then it hypnotizes Het and his soul pets. Then Het saw a lot of bugs coming toward him, then he turned around to run away and tells Zhang to run quickly. Zhang angrily called Het dumbass and said there was no group of bug at all, but Het just run past him in fear. Zhang angrily said it was Dream Beast's meant spirit attack, but it's only effective to Yang Het cowardly trash, and asked Chumu if he thinks he will fall for it. But Chumu just laughed at him and said his follower abandoned him. Chumu teasingly tells Zhang that his Yang family is only a group of trash who just wins with numbers. Zhang angrily responded that without Het, he still can kill him. Then he summoned his pet while asking Chumu if he thinks only he owns a strong soul pet. Zhang orders his pet to come out, then the poisonous millipede comes out destroying the ground.